evil murderer who took Charlie from us expected us to have a funeral today, and instead, my friends, we have had a revival in celebration of Charlie Kirk and of his Lord Jesus Christ.
And we have to bring back religion to America, because without borders, law and order, and religion, you really don't have a country anymore. We want religion brought back.
And when he returns, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and we will all be together, and we are going to have a great reunion there again with Charlie and all the people we love.
We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil, because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. The murders of a Ukraine woman, Irina Zarutska, on a North Carolina train, and days later, Charlie Kirk, inspired a Black Lives Matter spokesman to say it's okay for blacks to attack and kill whites. In Irina's case, this beautiful 23-year-old white woman sitting in a seat alone was suddenly attacked from a black man sitting right behind her after he stabbed her in the neck. She looked back at him in shock as her blood spurted out of her body. This black man had been arrested 14 times, and yet he was let out of jail every time by a judge. By the way, this murderer will not get the death penalty. Even if he was, he may be paroled soon to kill other whites. And then there was the man who killed 4 young students at a college in Idaho. He bartered for a guilty plea so he could stay in jail for the rest of his life, maybe even get paroled sometimes. And yet the kids he murdered are in the memories of their parents and their brothers and sisters and all the other relatives, wondering why this sicko lived while they are forever in their graves. Let's talk about the Bible from a Catholic perspective. Killing and murder are separated. Killing could involve self-defense, legitimate war, food gathering, while murder is an intentional attack and is considered the loss of the perps to be alive themselves. You should not think you can murder at your leisure and get away with this. Your life must come to an end. As soon as you're found guilty, by a court of law. Is this Catholic biblical policy agreed on? Let me know.
We went into college campuses where they said we couldn't go, and he was the light. That I always felt a little uncomfortable talking about my faith in public as much as I loved the Lord and as much as it was an important part of my life. I have talked more about Jesus Christ in the past 2 weeks than I have my entire time in public life. My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men just like the one who took his life. On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do." That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Okay, we're on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We got a great show for you today. And we have a great response from President Trump in terms of what he said, according to, well, I heard him say it, but his ideal of forgiving and forgetting is a little different. We've got J.P. Maxwell here as the well, he's a producer. Lisa Weinbaum, she's the wife, and she's always a lot of fun. And you look great today, by the way. That's a cute dress.
Thank you.
Can I borrow that sometime?
No.
Okay.
I don't have the right shoes.
I could do
but
that.
I'm working very hard over here.
Yeah, well, you forgot
trouble
stuff, didn't you?
finding the
Didn't
show.
you? You have trouble finding the show?
I'm having trouble finding the show.
I hope nobody else has. If you have, call the show 573-578-2700. We also have Rick Henderson out there in Salem, Missouri, and he's done all the clips and the bits. And we've got millions and millions of new Christians and Jews, blacks and whites, turning Point USA because of Charlie. He's become almost akin to Jesus. I mean, and getting people to believe in Jesus, but he's also got a lot of Jewish followings as well, including the Sabbath. He celebrates the Jewish Sabbath better than I do, that's for sure. And of course, he has worked his butt off his entire life, and that was a short life, 31 years comparatively. But boy, did he get a lot in. I'll tell you what, you start listening to a lot of these comments, these arguments that are done in good faith with him and people that don't believe like him and why they should believe it and why he should believe them. These are amazing arguments, and people are starting to catch on to that. Megyn Kelly had this argument with a student, just like Charlie, and she did it the same way, and it seemed to have worked. He's going to start this, and it sure as hell beats the Democrats every chance they get to call you a Nazi, a Hitler, a fascist. I mean, that's got to stop. So what do you want to say?
It's always, sometimes we have people pass and they live to be 80, 90 years old, and everybody says, well, they had such a good life. Well, just because they had a large quantity of years doesn't mean they had quality of life. We don't know that for sure. Charlie's quantity of time may have been short, 31 years, but he had quality of life. He had a major impact that it's only beginning. I think we're just starting to see the beginning of it.
And as his wife Erica said, they didn't want her to see the body. She went in and looked at the body, and she says it was a horrible thing, but he seemed to have a little grin on his face, as if he knew he had just met Jesus or God. I don't know which. See, that's where Jews have a problem, because we're obviously we're God followers, and the God has taught us, including Jesus, you shall not worship anyone else but me. Okay, so there's a little bit of a problem there, and I have a handsome young man sitting across from me, and I think we need to talk to him. He is 257 years old. I caught myself, and he is an amazing expert on the Constitution, especially the Second Amendment. Please welcome, all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. I got a little breaking news here that this came from Just the News.
Yeah, what's that?
I got it right here in front of me. It has just been released and declassified that the FBI had 274 undercover agents at the Capitol riot. It's been said before, it's been leaked some time back, but now this is declassified. Now, how did the leadership of the FBI hide this? Well, number one, these were all undercover. They were plainclothes. How they managed to not get arrested by uniformed police is anyone's guess. But what the head of the FBI did with this little piece of information, classified it top secret.
Yeah.
And as part of an ongoing investigation, his plan was for this to never see daylight again. And it's come out.
This now they've been denying that this thing was a fraud all along. I got, by the way, Mark and Pat McCloskey coming on later, and he is the lawyer to the 1-6ers, both pardoned or jailed or not. He knows all of this, and he knows all the things, and it's starting to come out. And now you got the head of the FBI, for the first time ever, a former head of the FBI, Comey, has been indicted. That's 117 years. That's a third of your life, for God's sakes.
That's one of the things we're going to talk about, Dave, is Comey.
Okay.
The congressional inquiry of Jan 6, of course, continues. And I've got two comments. These are FBI agents and former FBI agents. And one of them said, our response to the Capitol riot reeks of political bias, end quote. And another agent wrote, quote, we have been used as pawns in a political war, end quote. This is your federal government, your FBI, politicized, along with the rest of the DOJ, by Obama and Biden and their minions, towards one end, and that is to go after conservatives. They do not ever want conservatives to be in power again. Guess what, guys? We're in power now.
They're crying about this indictment of Comey. They're out there because you know why? They're scared to death. I mean, who's next? Schiff, Hillary, who funded Russia.
Yeah, let's talk about Comey and that bunch of slime.
Who made up the Russia thing? Obama.
James Comey was indicted by grand jury for obstruction of justice. Now, this is a federal charge, okay?
Right.
And perjury when testifying to Congress. And the perjury charge is going to be mighty hard for him to beat because it's videotaped in front of Congress. It is transcripted. It is actually published in the Capitol record. And now it turns out they've uncovered things that memoranda that he was aware of, had to be, he authored some of this, that caused this cover up. So, James, I think you're in a bad spot. Will you roll and testify against your cronies? I don't know. Depends on how big your kahunas are, I guess. But I will be happy to watch this unfold. And, you know, the lying to Congress is a 5-year statute of limitations, which, surprise, comes up September 30th. So they've gotten this right under the wire.
Right.
Now, that statute of limitations doesn't apply if there is a continuing conspiracy. And I suspect that Bondi and her ilk are going to go after that continuing conspiracy.
Well, that's what you're going to have. But you know, there was a guy on this morning. I can't remember his name, but he's a lawyer and a friend, an admitted friend to Comey, and he's saying, you know, everything might be true, but you really don't have a case if you can't prove that he's the one that directed this. And allegedly, the guy who leaked it didn't tell him until after the fact. So it wasn't him directing it. Now, I don't know if they got evidence to say that somehow this is convoluted, or whether maybe the other guy spoke against him during the investigation of this. But you know, it's not going to be an easy trial, and it's going to be a long driven one. But does this now get the rest of them rattled? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, Dave, you and I have talked about this over the decades that justice grinds along rather slowly.
Yeah.
And you can bet that Bondi and company are dotting every I and crossing every T because they want this thing to stick. Now, as a private individual, I can tell you that I would certainly not want Pam Bondi after my aging old butt, because she's a bulldog. She's not going to stop until you're either convicted or dead. So yeah, I wouldn't want her chasing after my hide. I'll bet you Comey is having little red kittens right now, and his buddies who are complicit in this thing, particularly the folks underneath him who took their direction from him. Some of those are still members of the FBI. I would be concerned if I was them about losing my job and also some jail time. So I think as this thing unfolds, you're going to see some folks turn state's evidence. I think you're going to see some folks admitting
there's going to be a lot of butt saving in individuals that are going to report, look, this is the way it happened. He told us to do it. He told us to be silent about it. If that actually happened. And I suspect it did. I mean, look at the lying he did before the FISA judges. Okay, those guys might be culpable, and those guys are going to be asked, did you know you were being lied to? Did you know you were being taken for a ride? And
you notice
some of these judges being testifying too.
Dave, you go back in time. You and I lived through this, of course, when these FISA warrants were being given by the judges. These folks went judge shopping. You know, the FISA court has 5 judges on it, and 3 of them are liberals. Yeah. What do you bet there wasn't a single conservative judge involved in this thing? I think they went directly to the liberal judges who had a bent towards believing what they were told. But, you know, lying to a federal judge is not such a good idea. It will cause you to lose a whole lot of money and possibly face some prison.
It's a lot worse when the judges know it and go along with it. You're telling me that I'm involved with Jeff Zink and his son Ryan, and Ryan is also one of those who were accused of murder. Actually, he never stepped into the congressional hall. Never
was in the building.
Never was it? Yeah, but he got convicted by who? Judge Boasberg, a part of the FISA court, and one of the comments to the jury was. Well, you know, we don't know what the crime is, but he's a backer. He's a Trump backer.
Yeah, pretty sure he's guilty no matter what.
I mean, that's what they're dealing with in the D.C. court.
Well, you know, speaking of Boasberg, he's in some hot water himself. They've been after him over the Trump stuff for a while. Now, all of these things take place behind closed doors. judges don't air their dirty laundry publicly and haven't since the beginning of our country. They're considered to be sacrosanct, and they tend to be a conservative, quiet bunch. But Boasberg's got his hide in a bad spot, and I think it's likely that at some point he'll be asked to step down.
Yeah.
Good riddance. Glad to see you leaving.
Yeah.
Did
don't
you
let the
see?
door hit you in the ass on your way out?
Did you see the photograph of the wall of presidents with the auto pen in Biden's spot?
No.
This may have been AI generated. I can't say for sure. I haven't been able to verify.
Wait a minute. Was this a joke? Was this a?
I don't know.
This was a good picture of Biden in that spot. Is somebody actually kidding?
No. Actually, it's you see the presidents in their chronological order, and then you see Obama, Trump, and where Biden would be prior to the second Trump, there is a picture of the auto pen. Whether somebody generated this as a spoof, I don't know. I looked at it and said, "Oh my God, somebody actually got this right." Whether Trump actually did that or not, couldn't tell you.
Well, how true is it though? I mean, that's a good one right there.
It gave me a belly laugh, Dave, and I said, "Yeah, somebody's very clever on this thing."
You know, with Comey, I kept trying to find a situation where somebody had. Remember when he put those rocks down about Trump? And I'm trying to find a place where somebody, the rocks, where it said.
Yes, the rocks on the beach.
Yeah, and I was looking for something. Somebody should have made that up already. I was looking for it to pass it on last night in my show prep, and I couldn't find it, and I didn't have anything. I didn't have enough time to do, create one myself.
Well,
but that's got to be coming out. I just gave a bunch of guys. Yeah, how did we miss that? And they're all sitting there now trying to figure out some of those. Pictures of Comey running through those rocks, implicating Donald Trump.
Yeah, skipping through the rocks.
Yeah, skipping through the rocks.
The tide will wash them out to sea.
Yeah, is that Bible? Is that biblical?
Sounded like it. I am religious, but I don't claim to be an expert on that. Okay. Trump addressed the UN the other day.
Yeah.
And addressed them for about an hour. Now, as they entered the building, the escalator quit. As he started his speech, the teleprompter quit. And either their maintenance crew is incredibly inept or this was intentional.
Oh.
What's so great about Donald J. Trump is he doesn't need a teleprompter. He went right on with his speech, ad-libbed it, and no one would have known the difference except he said, "Oh, look at that, the teleprompter quit."
Did you also know that the people inside the hall couldn't hear him? They were cut off from hearing him.
I heard that they had lowered
except for the ones who were language aided. In other words, they had people telling him what he was saying.
Folks,
yeah, amazing. That's quadruple sabotage right there.
Well, it is, of course, but the point I'm going to make is if this was a Barack Obama or a Joe Biden addressing these folks, things would have ground to a halt because neither one of them could do much without a teleprompter. And Donald J. Trump went on as though nothing had happened. And in the process of doing this, he gave the UN hell. He gave them hell for being ineffective. He gave them hell for being negatively oriented towards the United States of America. I'm seriously surprised that he didn't boot their asses out of New York City and turn this into a high-rise for veterans. The man, he did great. I listened to that entire speech, and kudos to you, Donald J. Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Never has there been a United States president that dressed down the UN the way that he did.
Yeah.
And good. They need it. They are the most ineffective left-leaning bunch of bozos as ever there was. It was a wonderful idea when it was created. And the United States funds this thing for the most part. And now we've got this high-rise building full of leftists on our soil. So I predict the following, that at some point Donald Trump is going to say, really don't want you guys here. Why don't you go to Brussels or some other hellhole and establish yourselves? So we're going to turn this building into veterans housing.
Yeah. Well, and one of the bigger things that affected me was the fact that he told them all that the weather, the heat or cold of the weather change is one big fraud. They need to tear down climate change, whatever you want to call it. Well, first it was global warming, then it was global. Before that, it was global freezing, and so they can go anywhere they want to with that global sunshine. I don't know, but in the meantime, they built all these things. They made all these EV cars. They got rid of crude oil for electricity, and it's killing everybody's, especially Europe. It's killing their populations because they have to keep raising taxes in order to keep the electricity going.
It's actually worse than that, Dave. Trump is after the folks that trade with Russia to stop buying Russian crude oil. And has happily said the United States will be happy to supply crude oil to you, natural gas, whatever it is that you need. But you need to stop doing business with Russia. And the old idea there is to starve Russia out to where they can't wage war in the Ukraine. I think that's a valid way to go. Now, we've got some problems with India, Pakistan, and some others that are certainly resisting this. But I think Trump's right on target with this. And this is a foreign policy none of these folks have seen. No American president has ever gone after folks the way Trump does. And he doesn't fool around with it. There isn't any 90-day diplomatic messing around with this thing while we talk. He writes an executive order and says, here it is. If you're screwed, fine. And if you're not, that's fine as well. But you really need to change your policies or we're going to have some troubles. I love the guy. He does not fool around. And I think the diplomats in Asia and Europe are just aghast at this.
I want to ask you this, though. Donald Trump suddenly has told Israel, you have to stop going into Gaza, and you can't run Gaza, and he's telling them to get a 60-day or something like that ceasefire, and after that they'll get the hostages. Something screwy there. Okay, and
it is screwy.
I don't understand where he's coming from.
Neither of us know what goes on in the background of these things, Dave. He's been asked the rabbi.
He's been turned around by some of these states like England and France, and they're all talking behind his back. Germany, that okay, well, here's what we want. He's getting deals based on Israel's problem with Hamas still out there with those hostages. Why do they have hostages? Anyways, why is that? And why do people ignore that?
Well, because Hamas is a terrorist group. They're not a country. They don't pay any attention to.
Okay, fine. So why aren't they Israel allowed to fight them until they release the terrorists and capitulate? Just like Germany did in World War II. Japan
that's exactly what's going to happen. Hamas is going to fight till there's none of them left. And
they're going to murder all these hostages who they use right now as human screens.
Okay, that was a foregone
from the hospital there in Shafa.
Dave, that was a foregone conclusion from the beginning.
What was?
I had said, it's unlikely that any of these hostages is going to make it out alive. So Israel is negotiating.
There's 48 hostages. They're figuring half of them are dead.
Probably.
Okay.
And it wouldn't surprise me if they killed the other half of them.
So why not let them go for that? They're not going to get the hostages back. That's their only hope, Hamas.
You negotiated.
I'm going to call Trump after this and say, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm serious. I'm going to call him. I'm going to try to get a hold of him.
Dave, you negotiate in good faith as best you can, but Hamas is not going to pay any attention to hostage trade, ceasefire, or anything else. These are folks that kill their own people, for Pete's sake. Use them as human shields.
JP has this awful look on his face.
I have a theory on this.
Oh, what is it?
It's a smokescreen. What did he say about Iraq or Iran recently? Oh, I'm not going to do anything for 30 days. What happened right after that? He went over and bombed them out of nowhere. This could be a smokescreen so they're not on guard, and we come in and help rescue the hostages. I don't know. I think he's playing chess and everybody else playing checkers.
Maybe.
A sign of a good leader.
See what he has to say. And
sign of a good leader, Dave, is you never show your cards.
He's never right, but this time he could be right.
Well, we'll see. I think Netanyahu and Trump are having considerable conversations off the record between the two of them because both want to win this thing. Neither want a Palestinian state because a Palestinian state's going to turn right back into terror.
And that's what he's saying is that they're going to go back and manage themselves. They're enemies. They can't. Okay. I'm going to get off of this. I hope JP is correct.
Well, I hope that he is as well. Dave, I've got a parting shot for you. We're beyond the clock. September 30th, we got a government shutdown coming up.
Yeah.
And there is a House continuing resolution, H.R. 5371, that has been voted by the House and passed to the Senate. Chuck Schumer says not a chance in the world will we pass that with 60 votes unless we put in $1 trillion of new spending,
right?
Continue the Obamacare
tax raises up the gazoo.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Well, for years I've thought Chuck Schumer was fairly adept at politics. I thought he was pretty sharp politico, but not so much anymore. I think the pressure's on him to drive him far left. Let's take a quick look at what happens if the government shuts down September the 30th as a result of Chuck Schumer and his ilk in the Senate. Number one, Donald J. Trump is a pretty popular guy. So the Democrats in the Senate are going to take the blame for this thing.
Yes.
From the man in the street. That makes them look kind of bad for the midterms. And at some point, they're going to have to scramble and make some kind of agreement. Number two, Trump can use this as a serious lever to furlough federal employees. He's been wanting to shrink the federal government. What better way to do it is in the midst of a government shutdown. Trump will use this to his political advantage, and good kudos to him for doing that.
Yeah.
I think the Dems are going to take a serious beating on this thing. Trump already canceled a meeting with the Democrat leadership in the Senate because he said these guys aren't going to negotiate in good faith. They're just going to push a bunch of BS. And why would I waste my time on that? Kudos to you, Donald J. Trump. I think you're doing this right. I think you're playing it right. And I do think the Democrats are going to come up with mud on their boots over this thing. All I had to say, Dave. Good day. I have enjoyed it.
Friend, quick on the comments, because some of them are for you. Beverly Whitworth. Good morning. Is that you
Morning,
know her?
Beverly.
Do you know her?
No.
No. Goodness me.
Now here's somebody I know.
Yeah, you're drawing women from all over the place. Patricia Odin Maxwell, sounding good, looking good. Go team.
Hi, Pastor
Thank
Pat.
you. Roy Maddox. Good morning. Along with his dog. Patricia Odin Maxwell. Thanks for the great info, JJ.
Thank you, Pastor Pat.
Yeah. And that's it. All right, my friend. You have a great weekend, and let's all hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
I'll be talking with you next Friday.
Yes. All righty. I can't wait. Okay, I think we're going to do commercials and then get the Rabbi on here. We got a great show for you. Rabbi, followed by Chris Adamo, followed by Bill Hardwick, and the McCloskeys. All right, let's go.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, we're back, and I see a friendly face across from me, and looks like he's back home in Israel. I'm not sure but you never know where he's going to show up. Please, this is a wartime rabbi. He buys homes for IDF widows and their kids, sometimes in a joint community, so they can gather with each other. Second most powerful person in Israel and his own home, according to his wife, Yonit. Please welcome all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. Well, I hope you had a good Rosh Hashanah.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. You have a very bold voice today. Good coffee, I suspect.
Coffee. It's 4:40 in the afternoon here.
You can't drink coffee at 4:40 in the afternoon, can you? Is that a law? Is it kind of a religious? Is that okay?
No, I have one a day, and that's it.
One a day? No, we're not talking about vodka here.
No.
Okay, so the latest thing that came out, and I had this in my monologue, is, and it bothered me, and JP thinks he's got the answer, which he might, is that Trump suddenly has said, we're going to give you a ceasefire. You are not to go in and take over Gaza, talking to Bibi, and you'll get the hostages at the end of a 60-day period. Okay, it sounds like it's a setup.
Right. I don't think that's realistic. It's not going to happen. It just seems that every week there's some other thing that comes out. And after 2 years of this, we've learned that it's all just smoke and mirrors at this point.
I heard him say it. I heard
him say it also. I mean, how many times I've heard the Steve Witkoff say, we're like on the verge, we're about to have, we're gonna have, this is about to happen. He said it again this week. It's like, to me, it's the boy who cried wolf. I'll believe it when I see it. So
okay, but that's not
it's hard to take it seriously.
Usually they're talking about good things like getting the hostages back. He's talking about keeping the hostages until 60 days. How's that going to work?
What I'm saying is that the reason I think it's silly. I don't let those things bother me, because the reality is that I don't think we're ever getting them back. I don't think they're ever going to compromise. And the only way
I wonder if any of them are alive. Sadly.
Well, they say maybe up to 20, but that could change in a heartbeat. And so I think right now I can't get too excited about anything or get too upset about anything, because it doesn't seem that anything has bore any fruit. All these conversations.
Huh. So meanwhile, the Houthis drone strike on Eilat.
Eilat, yeah.
Hamas exploitation of the Shifa hospital go on. Where's the Shifa hospital?
Yeah, the Schiff hospital in Gaza.
And they're still there, and they're using
Israel released
as screens.
Israel released footage this week of them using it for their fighters, shooting from the hospital. it's so cynical already, but no one really cares. That's the thing. No one cares. The world is just kind of either moved on, or you hear country after country on siding with Hamas, and all the footage in the world doesn't seem to sway opinion anymore.
What's the deal with Aragon and Israel and Trump? Trump loves the guy. He says nasty things about Israel. Turkey, that's the Turkey head guy.
Erdogan, yeah.
Erdogan.
Yeah. Yeah, he's Turkey used to be a secular Arab state.
Yeah.
Right? They weren't religious. When you have religious Muslims, that's when you have a big problem. And they were a secular state. So when Erdogan came in,
they were the Ottoman Empire, and the only thing good about that was everybody got to put their feet up.
Right, exactly. So the thing is that when Erdogan came in, he himself is a religious Muslim. So he's turned that country around into something that's a real problem for Israel. We used to have a lot of tourism to Turkey. That was like a place people went. It wasn't expensive. Young people could go there without breaking the bank.
Yeah.
And now Israelis generally, by and large, don't go there like they used to. It's become, they stand with the terrorists, and we can't trust Erdogan at all.
Sort of like Lebanon was a great place to go, right?
Yeah, Lebanon too. In the Middle East, things don't last very long. We have a very short present.
All right, so we have negotiations with Syria. That's part of the guy, I guess, is afraid of Israel. He's with ISIS. This guy, he's an ISIS warrior. The guy's running the country now. Got rid of the former government. So how's that going? The security negotiation.
There's been very high level negotiations, and things have been moving forward. And look, that's another example. 1973, the Yom Kippur War, Syria, big enemy. For 50 years, though, it was a quiet border after the end of the Yom Kippur War. And then suddenly you had the Syrian civil war. Things started up there. And now Bashar al-Assad, the former president of Syria, is somewhere in Russia. And you have a new regime. Like, things in the Middle East change very quickly. When I say quickly, when something happens in 40, 50 years, that's a historical blink of an eye, And, right now it seems to be that we're on the right track with Syria. In fact, I read this week, even Yemen, the part that's not controlled by the Houthis, I think it's southern Yemen, they said they want to jump on the Abraham Accords. So,
really? Well, they must be the blowfish then.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. So the Lebanese MP Ashraf Raifi, Hezbollah must be prosecuted and disarmed. He's the Lebanese MP.
Right. So look, Lebanon has put forward a plan to disarm Hezbollah by the end of 2025. Now, I think it's quite ambitious. I don't think it's going to happen that quickly. But the reality is that they are moving, and there's a plan, and they've done a lot in southern Lebanon, which is the buffer zone between the Litani River and the Israeli border. According to UN resolution, is supposed to be disarmed, and that's what they've been working on Lebanon, and they're moving also in the right direction.
Yeah, well, that's great. Because
that
used to be a great country, where it was like the Paris of the Middle East, wasn't it?
Right, they called it the Riviera of the Middle East. Yeah, the French Riviera.
Yeah.
But it has beautiful coastline, and not that I would want to be in France these days, but
well, yeah, you mentioned something about Azerbaijan and one
Azerbaijan.
yeah, and for some reason I had that in my notes about that,
It's
and
a Muslim country that's very
and
friendly to
that's
Israel.
in like north of Turkey on
Yeah, it
water.
was part of the former Soviet Union at one point, I think.
Isn't it
And
part of
they
is it close to the Black Sea?
correct, and we buy oil from them, and they are a friendly Muslim country to Israel.
All right. Well, that could be a one. What about the Accords? The
Kurds,
the Accords.
the Abraham Accords.
Abraham Accords, right?
Yeah,
Are they starting to perk up a little bit? Maybe Saudi Arabia.
I mean, we've been hearing about Saudi Arabia before October 7th, but
right.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
See what happens.
They kind of got caught in the middle there because they're also friendly with Russia. They're also friendly with China, and so that's a little bit of a concern, especially with Russia right now in the gas situation. Because Trump is trying to convince all of them in NATO, to cut off gas from Russia for Russia.
Yeah. Look, I mean, Russia, I think, has a large supply of their own gas, internally. But I mean, his relationship with Putin, I think, has gone downhill a lot. He's not a big fan.
Well, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
that's pretty obvious. There's no doubt about that. Chicago Pope. I mean, he's the Pope, but he's from Chicago, and he's a White Sox fan. His brother is a conservative. This guy's a liberal. His brother's conservative, and like Charlie Kirk and I were Cub fans. Of course, I switched to the Cardinals, and now I'm ambiguous. I don't care who wins. But anyways, Chicago Pope condemns Gaza displacement martyrdom. What the hell does that mean? I mean, is that something, a condemnation of Israel without recognizing?
He seems to be falling for all the propaganda coming out, and how these poor, suffering, starving Palestinians in Gaza, which is one big lie, and he seems to be falling for that. And that's where his sympathies are directed, and it's a problem. It's very troubling.
Okay, one final question. Now, I go to this famous restaurant in St. Louis. It's an Italian restaurant. You like Italian food?
Yeah, very much.
You can eat that for the most part, and so do I. And this is a great restaurant. And I'm wearing a hat, and he says, "Take your hat off." I said, "Are you serious?" They said, "Yeah, take your hat off." I says, "Well, what if I'm Jewish?" He says, "Well, we don't care. Take your hat off." Now I come to know that that bishops and people in the church wear yarmulke-like hats, if not domed kind of hats. And I'm wondering, and I didn't say it out loud, but I'm asking you, if a father comes in with a cap, do they tell the father, take the cap off?
Good question. What if the Pope came in?
Exactly. That was what if Jesus came in? Jesus, who lived by covering the head. Okay, that's I'm just saying, folks.
It's a thought question.
It's a fair question, and I'd like an answer. And I'm going to call him up there and tell him I gave him free advertising. If they want me back, I love it. I love the food, though. I love it. And I like the people. They're very nice people, except for this one thing. They've been doing it for years, and I'd like to know why. Who else could it be bothering except for Jews? Who? Maybe the Pope. I don't know. Okay, Rabbi, other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people, and by the way, your book Your book is Secrets of the Hebrew Bible. We're showing it right now. And
yes, you are. And there's the website.
Great. And other than that, where can people find you and contribute?
They can go to israelalliance.org or facebook.com/Israel Alliance. We'd sure love to hear from you.
Okay, I just have a little advice.
Okay.
Never give a cannibal a leg up. I'm sure that's going to be useful for you and all of your effects. What's with the rest of it? Come on. You can't let
I will.
Oh, from funny, you bastard.
Yeah. I didn't say that. That was Eddie Murphy, by the way. Okay, Rabbi. Hi to everybody.
Yeah. You got it.
And you have a great Yom Kippur.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week, October the 2nd, right?
Yeah, Wednesday night. Yep.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Take care. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Okay, up next, we've got now the Rabbi. I didn't know he was going to be on the show because he wasn't answering his phone. He was going to the temple with Rosh Hashanah and all other things. He shut off his social media practically. And I didn't know until like Wednesday that he was going to be on, and I'm deep into show prep. So, oh well. By the way, if you want to call the show, 573-578-2700. Maybe you can ask my question about having to take your head off to go into an Italian restaurant if the Pope doesn't.
I'm guessing if they told the Pope that he had to take his headdress off, that he would probably find a different place to eat.
Well, I don't want to find a different place to eat, though. That's not a good solution for me.
But I think it'd be if that's really a religious thing and it's so important, and they're saying no, then I would just take my business elsewhere. If they don't want
think it would be different if it was actually a yarmulke, but it was a ball cap.
What's the difference?
It was a ball cap, like what you
it
got.
Doesn't matter. Rabbi wears those too. Sometimes the Catholics wear it too.
He's not complaining about a restaurant.
I am.
Exactly.
And I think it's discrimination, and I think they don't even know why they're saying it.
No, I bet if it was a yarmulke, they would not have asked you to remove it.
I bet you they would.
I bet they wouldn't.
Because that's what they're wearing. That's what they're wearing. John Jeffrey Bradshaw, was it a MAGA hat?
Nope.
I don't know. What the hell was it?
It wasn't. It was.
Wasn't it this?
It was.
It was like this.
It was that or a Cardinals.
Yeah.
It might have been a
Here,
Cardinals.
show this up here.
Yeah.
It's an American hat. I think this is the one.
You don't know.
It's the culprit. Are they anti-American? What the hell's going on? They're good Italian people. Forget about it.
Oh, let's be like the Dems. Let's say that they're Nazis then. Like, let's just start labeling them since they didn't do what we wanted, right?
Yeah.
That's what the Dems do.
I'm a Nazi. There you go.
No, they are.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, see, we're just going to start labeling them.
I'm not going to label
because they're against an American hat. No, that's what the Dems do. So they just start falsely labeling people. Why can't we then?
Well, because
we're better than that. That's why.
No, it's not that. It's just that it's not worthy of us, and it's like the difference between murder and engaging in murder baiting is what they're doing. They're murder baiting against us, and we don't want to do that. Calling them Nazis is not as tempting to us as it is to them. I don't know why. All right, it's just not, and they're stupid, and they're not getting their way out of this on an election basis. I don't know who they think how many people are loving what they're saying, because the polls all show them sinking. There's a guy in CNN, I don't know the guy's name, but boy, he just rails. CNN of all places, how bad Kamala's book tour is going, and how horrible she is doing it, and how much they're losing. Every week, she was down 5% after the 2024 election. Now she's down 13%. 13% down. It's incredible.
So I heard a thing that this is what they're claiming, because obviously I haven't read her book. I'm not going to buy her book or read it.
Oh.
But there's an excerpt in there where she talked about the recent campaign.
Yeah.
And that Tim Walz was not her first pick for VP. She actually wanted Peter Buttigieg, whatever his name is, transportation secretary, former.
Pete Buttigieg.
And she was concerned that America wasn't ready for a black and woman president and a gay vice president, so they went with Walz instead. And obviously that was a huge monumental mistake because he was terrible.
Well, it's not the point. The point is that here's the DEI pick for being a black woman.
Yep.
And she has the possibility to have a new DEI pick in Buttigieg, a gay man, and she says she goes against it. She goes against her own DEI appointment as vice president. So the DEI stuff has got to go. It's McDonald's had it for a while, and now they don't. How about that? Isn't that interesting?
Poor Walz looked like, especially on those debates with Vance, looked like he's having a brain aneurysm. Like his face would get all red. His whole head would get red.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't come up with an answer.
Well, neither could she.
No,
quite
absolutely
frankly.
terrible.
And neither could Joe during that debate. That whole thing started when Biden just froze up during the debate and didn't. He looked like he was cognitively in need of something, and it wasn't there for him.
I am almost 100% convinced that anybody who was in the middle trying to make a decision about who they were going to vote for in that election saw that debate and said, I can't vote for Biden. I mean, it was a disaster.
I think that was the beginning of the end, and they did this amongst themselves. They decided to put Kamala there because, she was vice president, but they didn't have any primaries. Isn't that interesting? Not a vote. Not a vote went for her. And she was terrible in the regular primary when she ran for president against Joe Biden in a primary, and she had to drop out of it. It was so bad. And, her record is horrible. Her record with people is horrible. Her staff left her consistently. She was terrible to her staff. She was lazy. How many times did she go down to the border? Once, maybe, when it was in the middle of the election, and that was it. Yeah, and then come up with quips like, well, when asked, have you been to the border? And she says, well, no, but I haven't been to Russia either. That supposedly was to say, oh, okay, we understand that now. I mean, it was terrible. It was terrible. So
speaking of Russia, I don't know if you heard this or not, but I heard this on Hannity's show yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday after rehearsal that supposedly Russian fighter jets invaded sovereign airspace by Alaska, and of course, American
Alaska.
Yes, by
when
Alaska.
Was this?
I think yesterday, and American fighters were dispatched, and they had them help escort them out of the area immediately to make sure they weren't up to anything. And so now the question is Russia trying to get involved with America while they're still fighting Ukraine, which would probably not be in their best interest. So this is...
Well, they were also sending drones and planes over these NATO countries like Poland and things like that.
Which is dangerous because NATO will take action.
And Finland. And, when asked at a press conference if they do that to the NATO countries, would you advise them to shoot the Russian planes and drones down? He said yes. So that's pretty clear. Yeah, I think you're probably right. The rabbi kind of, and I hate to admit that. You know how I hate to admit that you're probably right, JP, that we don't know what's really going on behind doors. And I can't imagine Trump calling for a 60-day blackout for Israel to attack while the hostages are still there and don't have to give them back for 60 days. Yeah, something's wrong.
I just remember when everything with Iran was going on, and he said, oh, no, we're not going to do anything. We're going to wait at least 30 days and let the smoke clear and all that. Was it 2 days later they went in and bombed them?
Well, it was 60 days they were going to wait for Iran to capitulate, and they didn't do it. And there were no outside threats about what he was going to do.
Yep.
And he just went in and did it.
Yep.
Is what happened. And it was a miraculous attack. You compare that to Biden's disgraceful withdrawal from Burgham Air Base in the Mideast country of Afghanistan, and that and they're that's like just a couple hundred miles away from China, and now Trump is saying, you know what, we want it back.
Yep.
And I think it's a great thing to do.
Now, what I do find interesting
Yeah.
is Dan Bongino, who he's probably not making his own social media posts. He obviously has a team now with him being deputy director of the FBI. But his Facebook group at least, put out a post yesterday afternoon saying that Pete Hegseth has ordered a rare and urgent meeting of hundreds of generals and admirals from around the world to come to Virginia for a very emergent meeting, and it was not something that was planned in advance. Now, this could have been due to the Russian fighter jets that were intercepted, but maybe it's something else. So I'm just trying to look at all the puzzle pieces and trying to figure out what's going on behind the scenes here.
Well, maybe it's something else, and maybe it's nothing. We really don't know, and that's probably for those kind of things. Probably it's a good thing, but Trump, in terms of his ability, his actual performances before the UN and the press. The press has to be happy. Even the most crazed liberals there have to be happy unless they're kicked out for real bad behavior, which can be done by both presidents. Biden could have done it in the 2 times he had a press conference. Okay, but Trump has one every day, and maybe 2 or 3, and they have to feel like they're being listened to. We listen to them. Now, some of it might be misleading because sometimes presidents have to mislead. They can't tell you everything they're thinking and everything they know, because it's a lot of it's strategy. A lot of it is important to keep quiet. That's why they do have some classified situations. So, anyways, okay, we're on 906. Oh, that I want to play that Johnny Carson. Yeah, play that Johnny Carson. Follow it up with this picture of Melania. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got a clip of Johnny Carson talking about how to be a comedian. Who should you be talking to? Why you don't want or do want to be political. So it's coming up very soon. We need music like this. I used to play that when we had votes in the meeting, and I'd give them time to vote. I used to play that. All right, here it is.
Time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, Benny comedian. You tell me the last time that Jack Benny, Red Skelton, Benny comedian, used his show to do serious issues. That's not what I'm there for. Can't they see that? But you're not. Why do they think that just because you have a Tonight Show that you must deal in serious issues? That's a danger. It's a real danger. Once you start that, you start to get that self-important feeling that what you say has great import. And strangely enough, you could use that show as a forum. You could sway people. And I don't think you should as an entertainer.
Say that twice. This is you want to do it again? This is a 55-year-old woman, and she's got genes. That's all I got to say. All right. And what are you looking at me like that for, honey? I can see you in the background staring at me, my ear, ow, stop it. Okay, just for that.
Just wait and see where you're going.
Just for that, I need the lug ring. The lug.
No, you don't.
Oh, yeah, I do. Here we go. You can't find it? Oh, that tickles. Stop it. No. All right, let's do basketball. I lost my nuts.
I just
damn. We gotta go straight to the basketball now. I think my nuts just dropped off. Oh man, that hurt. Yeah, that was a painful day, I remember, and it's so painful. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to go do commercial.
Try to recover.
Yeah, try to recover. Oh my God, it was aching, and just watching that, it was terrible. I hope I can make it to the bathroom. All right. So, anyways, we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Buy stuff from my sponsors, and we got Chris Adamo, who's going to be all worked up, and then we've got Bill Hardwick, and we're going to end the show with the McCloskeys. Oh my God, the 1/6 thing is going to 274 FBI agents there. Wow.
We're getting conflicting reports, but I mean anywhere from 270 to 300, possibly more.
Gee.
Plainclothes
Well,
agents.
plus how many CIA do they have there? How many Department of Defense? How many Ukraine soldiers were there? They told me Ukraine soldiers were there. Incredible. All right, we'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Bye-bye.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we are committed to providing exceptional service to our customers. We do more than just provide loans for our community. We help make dreams become reality. Whether it's a new home, farm, business, or a new car, we would love the opportunity to help. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly lending team remind you how special hometown banking can be. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
We're back. And did you know that TikTok is in U.S. hands now? That there's a USA TikTok. Maybe I'll get back on now because they kicked took us off. I don't know why. I mean, they didn't say anything about it. So if my son Aaron is listening, which he's probably not, get me back on TikTok. My son handles all that stuff. And, I have shorts all over X, all over Facebook, these little short things, and it gets a lot of traffic. And it's hopefully it's fun for him to do. He says it's easy to do it. So I let him have his way, and he's having a good time. And he's the one that helped me out doing the show after the radio stations got rid of me. Basically, one, because I was a Jew, and the second one who wanted to give him great prices on all my real estate so he could buy it. So, I still talk to these people and I forgive them. No, I don't really. No, I couldn't. I'm sorry. That was wrong. I apologize. I wasn't. I guess that was off. That was not good. I apologize. But I do want to know, what do you think about places that tell you to take your hats off without regard to your religion? I want to know. Who's that? Oh, okay. Hey, Adolf.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. I'm just sitting here resting in my hospital room.
You're in a hospital?
Yeah.
Is this because of an illness or because you're getting treated?
They were supposed to do my back surgery, but due to complications, they can't quite do it yet.
So did they put you a week back?
Yeah, it'll be more than that, but we'll see.
See, that's also inappropriate. A guy's got a bad back, and I'm making jokes about it. I'm just trying to make you feel better.
You're okay. You're good.
It's like
have you listened to much of Netanyahu's speech?
Pardon me?
Have you listened to much of Netanyahu's speech this morning?
No, I knew he was coming to America. What's he saying?
Basically, he's out there telling the truth, and what can you say? A bunch of them walked out. The delegates just got up and walked out.
Oh, is that the UN?
Yep.
Screw them.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
What
He still,
can you say?
did he mention the hostages? Why do they have hostages? Since when did this become? Did he mention 10/7/23 and all the other countries that invaded Israel?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
He mentioned all of that.
Yeah. Did he talk about anything about Trump saying that he wanted a 60-day ceasefire and that Israel was not going to run Gaza and that they wouldn't have to give the hostages back for 60 days? Did he say anything about that?
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
But, I in between doses of medicine and stuff, I might have missed it.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. So, hope you're well. The part about your back.
Yeah. Well,
I went to my doctor once. I'd swallowed a wrench, and I says, "Well, what's your diagnosis?" He says, "Don't worry, this tool shall pass."
There you go. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah, we got more for you.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?
All right. So we've now turned this into a comedian show. And, Kimmel, eat your heart out.
Yeah. Well, these breakfasts that consist of water and my Marilax, they kind of stink. But what can you do?
Oh, God. Yuck. Okay. What's the good news? Anything?
Oh yeah. Ice is kicking back.
Ice is kicking back. Yeah. Well, what does that mean? What did they do today?
I haven't seen much today, but last night they were pretty active and picked up some more. The more they get, the merrier.
Were there some of your doctors involved, or
no?
No, so they can stay. They can.
Yep.
They can stay in their country and take care of you.
Yeah,
okay,
that's
good. See, that's terrible too. They got some other jokes. I can't tell them. Dang it, because it's too sensitive. It's too sensitive.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I have good doctors.
Well, that's great. All you need to know is this: those with frogs in their throats don't need honey to catch flies. Tell that to your doctor. Tell that to your doctor.
Yeah, I don't need no. Yeah, I can't have.
All right. While he's on, put the Steve Martin thing on. Yeah, I think you're going to like this, and then it'll be close, just close to having our next guest on, who is going to be Chris Adamo, who's going to. Hi, Joanne. How you doing?
Okay.
All right, we're gonna get this thing on. It takes a little bit to get it.
The nurse is coming in the room with pills.
Let her listen too.
Okay.
What the hell's the matter with her? Yeah. So you want to hear something funny? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Takes a couple seconds, and we're gonna have.
Many years ago, Paul called me. It was in the evening, and he said, "Steve, I'm so excited. I just finished a new song, and I just have to tell somebody." And I said, "Oh, great. What's the title?" And he said, 47 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And I said, "Paul, what if it were 50? 50 ways to leave your lover." And there was a long pause. And he said, "Go on." And I said, "Well, 50 has a nice ring to it, and 47 sounds a little awkward." And he said, "But, I've got 47. I can't think of any more." And I said, "Make a new plan, Stan." And he said, 48. He said, "Don't need to be coy, Roy. Drop off the key, Lee." He said, "Okay, 50, great. Hey, thanks. And I'm sorry if I interrupted anything." I said, "Don't worry, I was just here cooking a chicken." And he said, "Oh, really? How are you preparing it?" And I said, "Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme." And now look it up.
You like that? Hello? Hey there? Did he hang up? He hung up. Well, I was trying to give him a little bit of laughter going into his problems in the hospital. He's in the hospital. Now, that's not right. See, now I feel bad about that.
Maybe the nurse said that she needed to talk to him, and so he had to jump off the phone.
Oh, my God. They wouldn't let him laugh. Come on. Because that was pretty funny, I thought. We're back, and in a couple minutes, we'll play a couple of clips, and we'll be back with Chris Adamo.
Do you want more from the Charlie Kirk memorial, or do you want Trump addressing the?
Let's do a couple from the memorial. So we're going to do that right now.
I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love.
He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent. One of the last things he said to me is, please, sir, save Chicago. We're going to do that. We're going to save Chicago from horrible crime. It was Charlie who helped unite MAGA. And you know what MAHA is? That's right. Make America healthy again. And tomorrow we're going to have one of the biggest announcements, really medically, I think, in the history of our country. I think we found an answer to autism. How about that?
I do want to speak on the heinous political assassination of Charlie Kirk. As President Trump powerfully stated yesterday, this assassination was an attack on everything that makes the United States of America the greatest country on earth. But that attack has completely failed. The heartwarming response from the overwhelming majority of the American people over the past 2 weeks is all of the proof that you need. The assassin who took Charlie's life can destroy flesh and blood, but he can never destroy the values that Charlie stood for. All across the country, millions of Americans have prayed, hosted vigils, attended church services, became politically engaged for the first time, and honored the legacy of Charlie and the ideals he died speaking for. The beautiful memorial service attended by President Trump and 100,000 great Americans in State Farm Stadium yesterday was just the latest example. And Erica Kirk's mercy was one of the greatest acts of grace this world has ever seen. May God continue to watch over Erica and their beautiful children. Unfortunately, there have been some jarring exceptions to this unity. This past Friday, 58 House Democrats voted no, and 38 voted present on a resolution that simply stated, condemning in the strongest possible terms the assassination of Charles James Kirk and all forms of political violence. There were no strings attached to this vote. This was a simple gesture of human decency to denounce political violence. I wish I could say that this was only a fringe group, but 96 votes is nearly half of the entire House Democrat caucus. And they didn't just vote against this basic resolution condemning political violence. A number of those same Democrats took to the House floor to smear Charlie Kirk's name.
Okay, we've got an announcement here from my lovely bride, Lisa Ann Weinbaum. Hit it.
I want to remind everybody that the second Phelps County Moms for America group meeting will be tonight at City of Light and Life Ministries. And it begins at 6 p.m. tonight. There is a registration link. I have the announcement posted on the Dave Weinbaum Show, my personal page, and Merrimack Republican Women, if you want to go there to get the details. And they'll be meeting and coming together to take action against harmful agendas impacting our local community. Like, for example, the homeless that are now in front of the library every day.
Oh.
So anyway, they've got lots on their plate to handle. So feel free to join them and get registered for that tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, and we have a handsome person. Where I'm looking too. Where the hell is he? Oh well, you're gonna have to settle for him anyways, because the other guy, he was good looking. What I got here? This is a man who makes pizza ads and doesn't pay for them. He should cry in his pasta. He's an author, staunch supporter of America, and the author of Rules for Defeating Radicals. Please welcome Chris Adamo. Good morning, man.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good.
What's the matter?
Well, just watching the madness, watching the left. They're like, the cornered animal at this point, and it's amazing the things that they're saying and doing right now, which proves that they're on the ropes. But it also proves that that they still intend to win this fight, and they don't care how, and they never have cared how. The goal has never been. This is right out of my book, by the way. The goal has never been to win honorably or with truth, with actual, explaining to us the right way to be, the way Charlie Kirk did. They can't do that because the truth is their enemy, and so at this point, it's like they're coming totally unhinged. That's why they're taking Tylenol.
Tylenol, yeah, that's pretty good.
And you're right. It's all out war. It is.
Yeah, it's all out war, except for the shooting part. I don't know how they're going to accomplish that unless they're inviting China in or something, or Russia. Russia. I understand they broke our Alaska, breached our Alaska flyover.
And I'll tell you the truth.
Last night. Yesterday, I didn't know that.
That's actually nothing new. Now they don't talk about this much, but I was in the Air Force 45 years ago, 46 years ago, and honestly, we had specific systems that they built, video systems at the time, and of course, very primitive compared to what you have nowadays. But the whole purpose of those systems was tracking all of their little, because they'll do this. This is so typical of Russian. Poking you in the eye kind of thing. They'll breach the border, and okay, what are you going to do? Breach the border. You're going to start World War III, and this is the way they behave. And I wouldn't ignore it by any means, but I wouldn't treat it as if it's actually the precursor to World War III. We're all going to get nuked tomorrow or anything like that. It's just it's kind of a it's almost childish, but it's kind of just egging you on, and so. They're playing their own games, and if you look at the left, they do that. Look at sounds like I'm changing the subject here. Look at Comey, what he said since last night. Yeah, he got indicted, and he says, "Yeah, let's go to trial. Let's get the truth out." You realize if the truth comes out, he's got two charges. Yeah, same here. He's got 2 charges against him right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And those 2 charges were just the way to move this thing into the next level where it's an actual court proceeding, because the list of things that Comey did when Trump got in after the 2016 election, the list of things that Comey did, and he wasn't alone. We'll talk about that too, but they're a mile long, setting people up. He set up General Flynn. He set up Roger Stone. The number
but
of people.
Are these the things that are in the indictment? That's what I want to know, because that's
the indictment's kind of general. Is he committed perjury?
You might have a problem unless they have all sorts of other witnesses.
Yeah,
that are going to be able to add in other crimes to this.
Right. The indictments are kind of general. That he committed perjury, but the point is, if you commit perjury because your nephew was shoplifting and you're on the stand and you say he wasn't shoplifting, you're aiding and abetting shoplifting. Okay. But if you commit perjury in an effort to undermine a sitting president of the United States, you're committing perjury in service to high treason. And we have to treat it that way. This was not just, he didn't get the details right. I'm trying to remember the different people that they indicted because, well, you said you didn't have an email from somebody, and we found out that 3 years ago on a Thursday night he sent you an email saying happy birthday. So you committed perjury, and we're going to go after you for that.
Well,
Jerome Corsi was one. That was one
the
person.
1/6er thing. They found out there was 274 at least FBI agents at the Capitol that day, and who the hell knows how many CIA, DOD, and
exactly.
other
The whole thing was
agencies
being stoked.
We're doing.
This is what the left does, and this is. I've been trying to get this message out for years. Whenever they're in these situations, they do something, and what they've got to do is they're out there rampaging. But you have to color inside the lines because you're a conservative. If you don't color perfectly inside the lines, guess what gets reported on fake news 24/7 for the next, the next 10 years? So you just said 274.
I think
so.
It
Turns out it was only 273. Okay.
They'll say, "Oh, it's a lie. That's a lie."
Yeah, there, Dave Weinbaum. See, he's committing.
Approximately. Approximately. It's probably more in my mind.
But the point is that this is how they do it to us. You have to walk a tightrope, or they're going to get you on every detail.
Well,
But
they're the people that are for them right now, who are dwindling every time they open their mouths, something goes bad. Look at Kamala and her book deal going around the country. Every time she opens her mouth, they drop another point or two in popularity for her. 13% down since she's gone on her tour. She was only 5% down in 24. So
because people had listened to all the fake news reports, and occasionally the truth leaks past them. Every time she opens her mouth, people go, "Oh yeah, she really isn't the towering intellect that they told us she was." The spotlight of truth, and I always say this every week because it's a fact. This is why, aside from all the pizza jokes and the other anti-Italian bigotry that I get hit with, this is why I tell people you need to be listening to people like Dave Weinbaum, because the spotlight of truth on all this leftist stuff is the biggest enemy that they face. The number one thing that we can do that they cannot is we can show the truth. I've had people say, well, if you give your rules for defeating radicals, can't leftists use that and actually use that against us? No, they can't. Because if you look at the bottom line of my book, what it's all about is we don't fight leftist lies with conservative lies. We fight leftist lies with the truth. And the big trick is to keep them, not let them get us off of the truth by playing their little games, their little deceits. So we fight with the truth. If the truth comes out on all of these issues, leftists are the ones that go to jail. Leftists are the ones that become marginalized. Leftists are the ones that don't have a political platform.
Yeah.
So they've got to lie. We can't counter their lies.
Or the other strategy they have is we got to come together and find a solution together.
You know what, Dave? That's a lie.
Yeah, I want you to cover that right now, because you know what that is.
Yeah, that is just I said they've got to lie. That's it.
What could be wrong with that, though?
Because here's the problem. One side is good, the other side is evil. One side's on the right, the other side we say is on the left. They're on the wrong. Okay, what's halfway? What is halfway between right and wrong? Some version of wrong. What's halfway between good and evil? Some version of evil. Okay, so if we meet in the middle with them, we have to move in the direction of evil. Here's the other side of it, and they've gotten away with this for years because we have all of these rhinos, all of these Mitch McConnells that want to go along to get along. And what happens is, and the image gets reversed here, so it may look like I'm going in the wrong direction. They move left, and then they say we need to meet in the middle. So you have your spineless Republicans, you have your Mitch McConnells, your Thomas Masseys. Let's all meet in the middle and get along. Okay, now we've moved left. Now we're actually where they used to be. Okay, so then what do? They go further left. They say, oh, we've got to get along. We got to build bridges. And sure enough, here they come on our side. Let's build bridges. And we keep getting dragged left. The point is that if our goal is to redeem ourselves by having our enemies give their approval to us, they'll just drag us around wherever they want. What we got to do is go back to where we stood and said,
and they've been doing this. They've been doing this for decades.
4 decades. Thank you, Dave. Absolutely.
60 plus years, roughly.
Yep. Yeah. And to the point where if you look at, you look at where John F. Kennedy was in 1963,
Yeah.
And they would call him a right-wing radical extremist, conspiracy theories, Trump supporter, whatever else they call us, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, meanie,
Well,
whatever.
it's bad enough he was murdered by his own party.
CIA. Yep.
Yeah, CIA, and with the help of Lyndon Johnson, in my
Oh, yeah.
opinion, from what I've seen.
Yeah, this stuff is coming out. They've been off the rails for years. We're just really seeing it now.
Yeah.
And the murder of Charlie Kirk, I go back to because it was twofold. The giant eye-opening moment of that was, first of all, the fact that you listen to this guy, and all he's trying to do is help these poor, screwed up, mixed up kids, these children in colleges and stuff that have no clue. He's trying to get them to get their feet under them. Okay, now he's murdered for that, and that was evil enough. But the bigger thing was that the entire leftist establishment in between coming out and saying, yeah, we all got to try and tone down the rhetoric and get along. They're coming out like and I call it ghoulish. The things that they were saying, cheering on the fact that he got murdered.
Yeah.
That is the evil that unmasked itself, and that America's seeing. And you're hearing a lot of people saying, maybe I really am not part of this. Maybe I've been wrongfully assuming who's standing for what, and I need to change.
It's not just these radicalized kids. It's the professors they listen to in these schools.
Oh, absolutely.
And he actually has the professors interviewing them, and he nails them, and the students are behind him clapping and saying, yeah, that's what Charlie's right. That's what this guy's trying to teach us. He's trying to teach us, it's okay to have an abortion,
right?
The baby is born. That's what this guy is saying.
So let me ask you something here, Linda. This is, again, one of their scams on us. Now, I just talked about these 18, 20, 22-year-old. I referred to them as children, okay?
Yeah.
What's the difference between them and the professors? You and I think of a professor, we think of the scholarly guy with the little square hat on with the tassel, and he's very, very measured and very wise and everything. You look at these professors, you know what these are? These are those same 18, 20, 22-year-old spoiled children who've hung around long enough to get other 18, 20, 22-year-old spoiled children who've been in the system to confer degrees on them. Now they're all the experts. They're all still spewing the same pablum that those 18, 20-year-old children were babbling amongst themselves about. But now they're all in these positions of authority, and they speak, well, I'm a doctor of socioeconomic lesbian studies, and all of a sudden they have all these qualifications, and people blindly follow them. Hey, they got credentials.
I have cousins like this who are double PhDs in psychology and English culture. His wife being someone that ran a college in Illinois, and when the Trump thing came up, they used to just call me and tell me what a rotten SOB he was. I said, well, he's not the same guy that I'm looking at,
Tell me, Mr. or Mrs. Doctorate expert, tell me something. Does Trump push the idea of genitally mutilating confused children and poisoning them with hormones in order for a little boy who makes some remark that he thinks he's a girl, or who was coerced by a screwed up mother to say he's a girl? Does Trump advocate doing that to those children?
Specific conversation that I had with him. I didn't talk to them about that as much as what they were saying about Trump and how untrue it was, and how much they liked Biden. I said, you guys got to be out of your minds. I don't care if you're double professors and all that crap. I know who you are, and I know what you're doing, and you have no backup for that, none. And
well, they got
I'm a business guy.
Exactly. See the credentials on the wall over there? Over here. See, this says I'm an expert. I'm a doctorate. I have all of this background. So on the basis of that.
Well, you're pointing at your book, which you do have.
Well, yeah. Okay. That's my book right there. But But yeah, the thing is they point to these things up on the wall
Yeah.
and they say, well, I've got credentials. Now, on that
Right.
basis, you and I are supposed to ignore reality right in front of us.
Well, but if they're brave enough to get in front of Charlie and all those college students and actually get ripped apart mentally by Charlie, that's something the kids all see, and that's why
Yeah.
this is so popular.
Okay, I'm going to
You
point to
know-
my book again here now because you used
Yeah.
the wrong word. Respectfully, Dave, you used the wrong. You said if they're brave enough. They aren't brave. Watch what they do. Watch what we've been seeing in front of the cameras all
Right.
week from Comey on down. It's not bravery. It's arrogance.
Well,
it's
in my case,
blinding arrogance.
it's bravery to talk to me like that. I'll tell you that.
But
they don't
I am
get it.
so now. Watch this. Why when you see these little purple-haired gals with all the rings hanging out of their
Yeah,
face
yeah.
and they're going, you know, they're ranting, they're taking their Tylenol. You watch the attitude. You watch those kids talking to Charlie, and it's like they're going to go up there and they're going to set him straight because they
Right.
have such a erudite view on what's real and what's good for the
Sure.
world and everything. And they go up there because they just know it and they get shredded. Why did they get shredded? Because their view wasn't based on wisdom. It was based on this presumption that I'm just morally and intellectually superior to the rest of you. I've got all my participation trophies to prove it. And I've got a
And I've been
professor with
taught-
his participation trophies
right.
to prove it too.
And I've been taught by this professor who's really
Yeah.
smart. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
not. You're not smart. You didn't go to college. And Charlie says, "That's right, but
Yeah.
I think I am smart, and I know what I'm talking about."
Yeah. It's well,
what a loss he was, and I started to watch his tapes. He was following me, and he was following my son Aaron, and we're Chicago people. He was a Chicago Cub fan. Another reason to
well,
like.
we're not all perfect.
Yeah. Well, who are you for? Somebody in Minnesota or something, or what? Where's the team in Wyoming, by the way?
We won't even talk about that.
I got you there. Okay. Yeah, I don't hear you bragging about your teams. What, Kansas City?
Yeah, we won't go there.
Yeah, all right. Well, you brought it up. I'm sorry. So, Jimmy Kimmel was supposed to be back on the air Tuesday, and apparently he was. And I didn't see it.
You didn't watch him?
Well, I was clipping my toenails or something,
Something more,
and I missed
more
it.
interesting. Yes.
So, but there he had replays of it, and his guest was, a moderate guest, Gavin Newsom. No conservatives. He kind of apologized.
No, he didn't. Let's deal with that.
He tried. Yeah, he said he was very sorry for what happened and all that.
Now, if you listen to his non-apology,
I did.
Excuse me. And here again, here's how the left does it. Okay, I apologize that you people were so stupid. You didn't understand me. You took me out of context.
Yeah, well, he did say
Okay.
he didn't say that, but he said
That's what he
I don't
said.
think you understood what I meant.
Yeah,
is what he said.
yeah. And the point is, again, this is how they do it. He didn't say anything wrong. You're just too stupid to understand it. Okay, now, and this is what the left always does. Again, what they do, they're going to grandstand. He got his original point out, and now this non-apology, he can say, well, yeah, I apologize. It's right there on video. I apologize. And then they double down. Okay, so he turns right around. Now he's talking about, rising above this and let's all get along. And so how are we going to do that? Oh, we're going to bring Gavin Newsom on.
And nobody else to counter him.
Yeah. Well, they cannot
Really?
withstand that. If you watch, I'm seeing polling data that they're quoting. Now, these are the same people tell you a boy can become a girl. Okay, they've got polling data that says Gavin Newsom is 9 points ahead of Donald Trump. All right, 9 points, Gavin Newsom, and that's the only response you can have to it. But they have gotten by, like you said a little while back. They've gotten by for decades telling lies.
Yeah.
What else do they have in their arsenal?
Well, they've got the guy in New York that's going to be the mayor, Mandani.
Yeah.
Mandami.
Well,
okay, he's going to be the mayor. Suddenly, they like socialism there in New York.
Well,
City.
what's happened is over the years that the things have become so polluted that again, New York City, I'm sorry, is a leftist sewer at this point. There's so little left of New York that you could say is even attached to reality. I'll give you another guy. You might remember another mayor, and I didn't write his name down. I probably should have. It's probably Mahmoud something or other, but he's the mayor of Dearborn, Michigan. Do you remember this guy?
I don't remember him personally.
There's a Christian guy at the town council meeting,
Yeah.
and he tells him, "You're not welcome here. These are Islamists who've come in to our country. They've taken over these jurisdictions, and when they take over, when they come in and we're in control, they're so big on how we all need to be tolerant, open-minded. Let's all get along.
Sure.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. Let's all do this." Okay, they do that, and we sit back like dupes and play along with it until they have a majority. And the minute they have that majority, you, Mr. Christian, are not welcome here.
That is the international plan of Islam, and it's written somewhere that this is how they're going to do it. They're going to.
It's how they've been doing it for 1,400 years.
That's right. That's
Now,
right. They've been very successful in it. And what did this stem from? I'll tell you what it stemmed from. Muhammad was trying to convert the Jews. And he was being very nice to them. Very nice to them.
That's how come you have things like the Muslims have their own version of kosher food.
Well, yeah. They sort of like imitated the Jews.
Yeah, it was pandering. It was absolute pandering.
Yeah, and when it came down to it, the Jew says, "Well, we're not going to call you God. We're not going to call you the Son of God or whatever." And he got mad. That's it. He got mad at them and started saying the things that Democrats would say: the Jews need to be killed. And they've been doing it. They've been doing it ever since.
By the way, right along with everybody else who disagrees with him, I put out a post on a regular basis when you see these things from the Islamists, and I talk about the fact that the Islamists and the American leftists are kindred. And they're kindred. They have the same end game, which is total domination. They have the same strategy, which is lies and intimidation. The same end goal, which is total domination. And the reason for that is because they ultimately serve the same master. Okay, you look at Karl Marx and how he intended to dominate the world with his ideology. He was an atheist. And if you look at how he intended, it's just as evil, it's just as deceitful, it's just as fraught with lies, intimidation, and ultimately brutality and murder as anything the Islamists do. It's the similarities there are inescapable.
And you have these Congress people in there, Talib and Omar and AOC, and some of them are actually from places like
And you did a great job just saying. You mentioned Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, who are Islamists who don't belong here in America in the first place.
They hate America. They hate America, next to them, and they're mocking us when they say we're here to stay. You can't do nothing about us. We ought to send them back to their home countries.
Who's the other person you mentioned, though? You mentioned AOC. She's not an Islamist.
AOC is not. She allegedly was born in Jamaica.
But she's a leftist. Okay,
well, she'll be running. She'll be running for president, and it could be her and slick hair.
Yeah.
You know.
You're talking to Newsom, But the point is, AOC is a leftist. The other two are Islamists, and there's very little you can tell apart from what they say. Because it's the same ideology. It's the same wretched, putrid ideology that's anti-Christian, anti-American, anti-Israel, pro-evil, pro-lies, and pro-brutality. This is who these people are. Now, they're coming a little unhinged lately because they have nothing else to do, because all the previous lies didn't work. So they're going to step up the lies. And they look a little crazy. Our side has got to be really careful, because there's this, as you pointed out earlier, this let's tone down the rhetoric. It's all getting a little bit too heated, folks. Let's tone it down. How do we tone it down? Well, we try to find common ground with these people.
Yeah, there is no common ground.
There is no common ground.
With being called Hitler and called fascist and Nazi and all that stuff.
Think about the fact that the people who want to see Israel annihilated are calling you Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay. The people that want to burn down the cities and loot and rape and assault and even murder to get their way,
they're
calling
on Netanyahu as a fake and all this and a killer. And
you look at the riots and stuff that they do to get their ways in American cities, and they're calling you a fascist. These
Yeah.
people are the fascists. These people are the brown shirts. I mean, their techniques, their playbook is right out of Mein Kampf, and yet they say they're anti-fascist. And on that
Yeah.
basis, they're on the moral high ground, and you're the one that has to defend yourself.
I
And
know,
the
but
answer to that is no.
You go
And let's
go
talk
on
about that for a second.
AI. I go on AI and I have debates with it about 1/6, and they're saying, well, there's no proof that this was any fraud at all. There's no evidence. And then I says, well, tell me the sum of what happened during all the riots in the last 10 years, other than 1/6. And they had to come and tell me how much lives were lost and fires and how much it cost and all this stuff and how many federal buildings were attacked. And I says, you know what? I've got you. You
Yeah.
don't know what you're talking about. Go back to Mars and get some advice. And
Hey,
and they kind of said, well, we understand your situation, but they
Right.
tried to say, give me the same stuff. I says, you know what? You're beaten and you can't get up. Okay,
AI is just a
AI.
compilation. It's just a compilation of the so-called news stories that it can amass. And so if you have 15 lying news networks that are all repeating the same narrative, that it's all the conservatives, it's all the Trump supporters, it's all J6, and they're just repeating that. That's all the news stories, the so-called news stories. And then you have Dave Weinbaum saying, no, it's a crock. Okay, which one has the massive information? And that's how AI functions. They've got all these news stories saying that
I like to take them on. I want to see what they think. If for example, if I'm going on the air and I want to know which painkiller is the best or something like that.
Tylenol. Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant, Dave.
Right. Huh?
Don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant.
Yes, I you know what? You know what I found? I had a doctor's appointment a couple days ago, and I asked him about Tylenol. And I says, do you believe in that? And he says, well, yeah, if the baby is sick inside the womb, you should take this. It depends on how much how much you give them, the dosage and all that. I says, yeah, but seemingly it's causing these babies to be autistic. And then a couple days after this, and he didn't agree with me. A couple days after this, I'm looking at it right now that 3/17. That's March in 2017. Tylenol statement. This is the company. We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant.
Yeah.
Now, that's the company saying this.
Now, did that make the news 24/7 when Trump made his announcement? I guarantee you it didn't.
Well, no. I found it, though.
Right. Well, that's because you're searching. That's because you're looking for what's really going on. But
JP,
what made the news is that Trump wasn't qualified and he mispronounced acetaminophen and all these things. And on this basis, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
JP wants to say something.
So my wife, who's a 20-year RN, also a pediatric RN as well, mind you, when she was pregnant with our youngest, I remember she was having a day she was hurting. Yeah. I said, oh, let me get you some Tylenol. And she goes, oh, no. She goes, not using any painkillers while I'm pregnant. I said, why? She goes, they're known to have negative side effects. She goes, actually, if you get the Tylenol brand itself, there's a warning label that says do not take while pregnant.
There you go.
And this was 8 years ago, over 8 years ago that this was going on, well before RFK was in the picture, Trump's second term, all this. So
yeah.
So we have something that's well-established fact.
Yep.
And yet the left right now, because they are anti-Trump, they're going to try and muddy the waters and quibble about it. Think about that. How much else have they lied to us about in the meantime?
Oh, well,
I've got one more thing I wanted to bring up.
If their lips are moving, they're lying.
Yeah, exactly. Because
of that, it's just, and people have caught them on it.
I hope that people are waking up.
Well, look at the last few elections and look at how the polls are going.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace for them. And they don't know how to get out of it. They just keep yelling and screaming and calling people names.
I got one more thing on that note that I want to bring up is the fact that
Okay.
this last week, Trump also declared Antifa to be a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
That needed to happen because you said they don't know how to get out of it. Their
Big
way of
deal.
getting out of it is to ratchet it up. We
Yeah.
saw what happened at the ICE facility. We saw how the Democrats say, well, it's ICE's fault because they listened to Trump. It's Trump's fault. Okay, here's the thing. If they're a terrorist organization and you, Mr. Leftist, are supporting them,
Yeah.
you're now aiding and abetting terrorism.
Yeah.
That puts you on the watch list at the very least for criminal activity.
Yeah, it's a RICO violation.
And that's
RICO.
how we need to go after it. Any of these little
Absolutely. You're
any
an
of these little
Italian. You
punks.
understand that stuff. RICO.
Oh, you're gonna wow.
Well, you just know people. You know somebody. You know somebody.
My cousin Vinny, I'm going to send him to talk to you if you keep this up.
Yeah, bring him. That's why I'm here. I'm running away from. I told on Vinny back in Chicago. That's why I'm here.
So
Anyways,
one more misnomer about this whole Trump and town hall thing, by
Yeah.
the way, because a lot of people have been out there saying Trump is trying to silence free speech and trying to silence
yeah.
all this stuff, and then now the rhetoric is they're saying that town hall is banned if you're pregnant. Notice Trump, RFK Jr., none of them said you can't take town off your pregnant. They said we would. Here's the facts that we have found.
Yeah.
We would recommend you probably
Right.
not take it, but they're not
Well, they're-
outlawing it.
they're-
But that's the rhetoric that's being pushed.
they're doing what all good medication, all good medicine people want in the government or not, but
They're advocating
trying
public
to-
safety.
They're trying to investigate it and find what the facts are, and then
Now let's look real quick at what JP just said, because these are the people saying he's outlawing it, he's oppressive, he's a dictator, whatever. These are the same people that were telling you which way that you had to walk up and down the aisle in the grocery store because somehow that was providing for your safety. These
Yeah.
are the people that wanted your children wearing masks because that was providing for their safety.
Right.
Shoot, these are the same people that told me I had to take the COVID vaccine to protect them.
Exactly.
And I told them you're out of your mind. That's not how
right.
it works.
Yeah.
You need JP, read chapters 2 and 3 of my book there. They're both about leftist hypocrisy.
Okay. All right. Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and buy Rules for Defeating Radicals? That's your book.
It's still at Amazon. It's the way to find out who leftists are, what they stand for, so you can understand how to effectively fight them. And if you got kids going off to college, it lines up very well with what Charlie Kirk was doing to teach kids how to understand who the enemy is so they wouldn't be fooled by it.
You know,
Oh,
Ian,
no.
you
Here
know,
it comes. Lisa, this
Chris,
is your chance to help me out, Lisa.
I might not say this because this is nice for you.
Oh,
I wanted to be unique, but you beat me to it. Listen. See, you slap me around. You slap me around before I say anything.
Oh,
and
now I feel guilty. I'll buy you a pizza next time you're in Cheyenne.
You buy me a pizza. You owe me for about 10 commercials already. I'm sending you a bill. Okay. All right, my friend. You have a great weekend.
You guys keep up the great work. God bless.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Hi to your wife. Bye. Okay. Well, we got our new guest coming in. He always walks in late. I don't know why.
He texted us.
Yes, about what?
He got caught in some construction, but he's
Oh.
on his way.
Okay, well that figures. Okay, well let me go over some of the stuff. I did mention that
He probably had kind of a big night too.
TikTok is, and he can talk about that. Let him talk about that, please. TikTok is in U.S. Do you mind? Golly, I'm trying to do this show, and you have a great woman, by the way, but she sticks her nose into stuff while I'm trying to talk. It's a talk show.
You need help.
Yes, I knew. I do.
And I'm talking.
Is there something you need to do in the other office? I don't know. TikTok is in U.S. hands. That's a big deal. People I wonder if the stock or any stock is going to go up. Comey might get 5 years. Hillary slams white men of a certain ideology. In other words, we're irredeemables. Again, she's saying it, and we're not worthy of life. It's incredible. Denmark bans burqa Muslims. and that's for women, and it bans them, or will allow them to leave the country. Denmark, BLM office officials, and I did my whole monologue on this. Blacks have the right to kill whites. Wow, that's really incredible. CNN Kamala book, double-digit drops. She's extinct. She ain't going nowhere. What do you think? I don't think so.
So, quick question though
Yeah.
on Hillary. You brought this up, and this was something they kept saying, and now the rhetoric's coming back up again. This irredeemable statement.
Yeah.
Is that the same as advocating for people to be eliminated like they did
It
Charlie
is.
Kirk? Because to me, it's the same thing.
Well, back in the Obama administration, they asked one of his aides, who was trashing the MAGAs, and they said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And well, we're going to put him in corrective school. And what if they don't pass? Well, we're going to have to eliminate them, all 25 million of them at that time. Okay, now it's like 50
A lot
million.
more of us now.
Not a lot more now. Yeah, and eliminate them. What the hell does that mean? I mean,
I don't think it means take them out for pizza. So
there isn't enough Trump can do in 4 years, in my opinion. That's going to be totally effective. They need, and who knows who's going to be the next president? Probably, hopefully, a good conservative. I mean, there's plenty of talent that we've got, I believe.
So I saw a graphic the other day
Yeah.
who, and what their thing was that the next two presidencies, so 28, 32, could be Vance. Next two after that could be Erica Kirk, first female president.
Wow.
For 2 terms. Then guess who is then eligible to be president? Barron Trump.
Well, okay. And that goes back to the book they wrote about him in 1890s. Barron Trump in Manhattan in a high rise. Okay. This is weird. Okay. I mean, I'd like to ask you, what do you know about time traveling, Mr. President? What's your connection to having the Barron Trump issue? Why did you name him Barron Trump when there was a book written about him back in the late 1800s? Isn't that? Do you find this fascinating or what? You could look it up. It's on sale on Amazon right now.
And of course, Mr. Lockwood, who we've had on the
Yes.
show a few times, there's some of this stuff that to me is a little out there, but the Barron Trump thing with the book and all that, it's interesting because it's a written book you can go check out, and this is in there.
Well, Lockwood, call me. He's an interesting guy, but we got to have more discourse about aliens. And look, I had a incident back in the early '80s of where in bright daylight in June or July of 1982, I believe it was, maybe 81. Suddenly, I felt a presence behind me, and I turned around and I looked up, and my God, this was a huge metal device that was in the air about 200 feet above my head, about maybe 100 yards away from me. I mean, you couldn't dismiss it. It was sitting there, animated in the air, and it seemed to be observing me. I looked around. There's nobody around. It was a really spooky incident. I stood and looked at this amazing thing. I'd never seen anything like it before. Even in the movies up to that time, I never saw anything like it. And it sort of was spying on me, or it seemed like it to me, or maybe just the neighborhood. Maybe I just was incidentally in the way. And about a minute and a half, it just suddenly took off. It disappeared soundlessly. I know this wasn't a dream. And have any of you ever experienced anything like that? I'm sure there are.
Had you taken Tylenol the night before?
Oh, damn it. That was it. Took the damn Tylenol.
I unlocked it, see?
And I was pregnant,
Before my
too.
time.
And I was pregnant, too.
I'm RFK. I'll be here all week.
Oh, my God.
Before my time.
Before your time. All righty. But you used to work for me, right?
Yes, I did.
And you love me when you work for me.
No, I did not.
Yeah, well, yeah, because I told you what to do. You didn't want to do it. What are you going to
I
do?
was a good employee.
I don't remember you,
And
though.
you were mean.
Okay. Do we have to do that thing again? No, I don't think so.
We better not. We might get in trouble. We got away with it once. We're not pushing.
I don't think we want to do that anymore. Play a couple of clips. And which clips? See, I lost my clip papers. And I don't know where
So
they are.
there's 3 more from Caroline Leavitt, press secretary for the White House, and then we've got all these about Trump addressing the UN.
Why don't you do Trump addressing the UN? Let's do that until Bill gets here, if he ever does.
In 4 years of President Biden, we had less than $1 trillion of new investment into the United States. In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion is being invested in the United States. And it's now pouring in from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business. And many of the people in this room are investing in America, and it's turned out to be an awfully good investment during this 8-month period. We have successfully repelled a colossal invasion, and for the last 4 months, and that's 4 months in a row, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering our country has been 0. Hard to believe, because if you look back just a year ago, it was millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers. All over the world they came. They just poured into our country with the ridiculous open border policy of the Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail, or you're going back to where you came from, or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending at my request from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful than it was ever before. In May, I traveled to the Middle East to visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and other countries are now, I believe, closer than ever before. My administration has negotiated one historic trade deal after another, including with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many, many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This includes Cambodia and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was, Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, and Armenia and Azerbaijan. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case, what is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential, but it's not even coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action. Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements.
And ladies and gentlemen, a future, prize winner, Nobel Peace Prize winner, sitting across from me right now, had a bunch of things he had to do earlier, obviously. He's an Iraq platoon captain, lawyer, politician, philosopher, college professor, too, running for Senate after a great time on the House floor. Please welcome, all the way from Waynesville, Missouri, Bill Hardwick. Hi, Bill.
Good morning, Dave.
Get into an accident this morning or what?
No, actually, what happened was I was like, Dave always gives me a hard time for being a few minutes late.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to leave super early this time, be there 10 minutes early. I'm going to startle him. And then I took off and I was behind a horse trailer going like 30 miles an hour. And I was like, come on, not today. And then I went up to the Drome exit and I forgot that it was under construction. So I had to go up to Jay, and that added 10 minutes to my journey. So then I was like, well, this sounds incredulous. But
that Dan Mayhew guy, he's always early.
Yeah. I
guess he's got nothing to do.
Your other guests all show up super early.
Yeah.
They show up like half hour early. And they go, I was just here. I thought I could be on the show.
Well, there you go.
But
I'm easy that way, you know that.
Thanks for having me on.
No, it's my pleasure. And Don Mayhew was, on last week. Do you know what he said about you?
I don't know. What he said?
He said you're his friend, which makes you the Bruise Brothers. I don't know how that makes you the Bruise Brothers, but it sounds kind of like you're partners and yet you're competitors. You're bruising each other, but you're brothers. Does that make sense?
I think.
Give me a little of your wisdom there.
Okay. I'll, and I'm trying to transition my mind to it. I think Don is a good man. And in a sense, we're all brothers, And if we want good things for Missouri and everybody, we're trying to do that. We're trying to do the best we can. I think it's an okay thing. I think anybody who wants to run for office, it's a hard thing to run for office. First of all, it takes a lot of courage to run for office.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a lot of courage to put your name out there and have people criticize you, and people start to, I posted something about Charlie Kirk. You wouldn't believe the number of messages, emails I got, calls, text, Facebook messages that are, not very nice, right?
Really?
And that's just part of of it.
All right.
So the price of making a difference is going through the gauntlet of being a candidate, right? And it's a gauntlet. And so kudos to Don for stepping up and doing it. And Don fights for good things. Kudos to everybody for stepping up and doing it. I feel like I got something distinct to offer. So I'm just doing what I think I could do as the best I can to make the best difference I can. So, yeah.
So how's the campaign going? How was last night?
It was really great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I'm sorry, but I don't do Thursday nights. I as she knows, she was going to go, but then she couldn't find anybody to go with. And it's tough to prep for this show, as you know.
Yeah, no.
Now, you know that now.
because I did the Thursday night and just you roll it. Yeah, but it's my
Yeah.
life. You just roll into the next thing constantly. Then we had a good crowd. We had some good music.
Good.
And I was listening to some music. It was the same music they had at the Charlie Kirk Memorial we had at our event.
No kidding.
That was
Wow.
just uplifting. And I think that a lot of people saw that. And, that hurts a lot of people to see something horrific like that. But we just had a really uplifting night and an inspirational night about just telling people that your life matters and what you do matters and you make a difference. And that, you got to have faith you got to have faith for your family and for the future of our country. And that's important, right? To have something to lean on like that. And about why freedom's important. I had a discussion about that. Why does it matter whether or not we live in a free society? And I just gave my thoughts on that, which is, they all basically, not to reiterate the whole thing, but nobody's better than anybody else. Everybody's value and worth is equal. It doesn't come from the government. That's why the government and nobody else has a right to rule over you. That's why nobody is better or worse than anybody else. We should live in freedom. I gave that. And then I kind of talked about some of my stories, my background.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think about who I am. Why am I in this? What am I doing? And I told the story about, and I didn't really have a script or anything. It's kind of like when I get in the show, I got up and I was saying what came to my mind. I had some thoughts I've been thinking, but it didn't have a structure to it until I just got up and started talking. But
we're very good at talking.
well, there's something to that too. Communication, being able to impart ideas is part of this. But I was telling the story, and I was a freshman in high school where I just was freshman in high school, and these upperclassmen, they grabbed this guy and locked him in his locker, and they were taunting him and saying cruel things. And I walked over, and I was brand new to high school, and these guys were seniors, and I was like, "Let him out of the locker," And they're like, "Kind of, what are you gonna do about it?" And they kind of like encircled me.
Really?
Like they were gonna pummel me, and I was like, "Let him out. You guys can do whatever you want, but I'm not going anywhere." And just stared at him.
Yeah.
They just stared at me. They let him out of his locker.
They
right?
backed off, didn't they?
Yeah, but I thought, man, I'm way smaller than those guys, and there were 4 of them. So then that's when I started to take. I took Aikido actually at St. Robert, and I went over there, and the sensei said, "This is an adult class. You're 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I could do it. I'm mature. I can handle it, and I need to learn how to fight." So, but everybody I sparred with, they were all active duty Army officers.
Oh, all right.
So from 14 to 18, I was the only teenager in the class.
Yeah.
And it was Tuesday and Thursday nights, and everybody I wrestled with, sparred with, had to tackle, did whatever with, they were all, active duty, not armed officers, but they're all active duty military. So that taught me how to be tough real fast.
Yeah.
And I think that was that. And I didn't think about it until I making the connection, but that was really important for this career I had now too, to be, just to be tough and to fight. And, this is kind of where I talked about that. If you feel like that's just who I am, I'm somebody who's just going to protect. I'm going to protect your life, human life, going to protect freedom. That's just my nature.
And you became a soldier. You risked your life in Iraq, along with you were responsible for a whole group of other people in the platoon, and that's amazing. I didn't do it.
That's what we did in Iraq.
And it
was that we did route clearance. So our job was they'd put IEDs, they'd hide them in the rubble, they'd hide them under the road, they'd hide them in the side, they'd hide them in launchers and buildings, and they would attack convoys going through Baghdad and around Baghdad, and they'd set up ambushes. So our job was, we were sapper platoon, we would go sweep and clear that out first, make sure it was safe.
That's a great job.
So I remember one time we got a mission where there was another platoon leader, and he was an engineer with the Virginia Department of Transportation, was a civilian job. And they came and they gave us our missions, and they gave him a mission, and they said, your job is that we're trying to, these long vehicles, these logistic vehicles are coming through. Can you go analyze the road curvature and see if you can handle the trailers? Yeah, a great mission. He gave him that mission.
So when did he die?
He didn't die. I'm sorry.
Oh.
He didn't die. They gave him that mission, said to go analyze the road.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like a pretty good mission, easy mission today, just to go do some math on that the road could handle it. Then they turned to me and they're like, Lieutenant Hardwick, there's a sniper they set up IEDs in this neighborhood. Yeah. And every time somebody goes to check him out, the sniper shoots him. So will you go check it out? That was my mission.
Oh, okay. At least
I was like,
at least, and this is true of most things that are violent, is that you now had a mission to go get somebody. You were on offense then when you were looking for this guy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so that's a bit of an advantage most of the time, especially when you're dealing with bullies. If you're dealing with bullies and you look them in the eye and you go after them, they don't know what to do.
I think there are a lot of bullies.
Sure.
I think that there are bullies in high school. There are bullies in college. There are bullies in the army sometimes.
Bullies in politics, for
there's
sure.
Bullies in politics.
Yeah.
I think that some of the big corporations that I've gone toe to toe with, they're big bullies.
Yeah.
I think China's a bully sometimes. I think that even if I'm going to lose the fight, that's not the point. The point is I'm not running away.
Yeah.
The point is I'm not going to bow down.
Right.
It's just not in my nature. So somebody's got to go stand in the gap. They use that phrase, stand in the gap. That's so politicians, we all get a bad rap. And yeah, that's right. We're just as human and vulnerable as anybody else, right? We're just people, right? There are a lot of people we serve with who have health problems, who have, people death in their family. They're human beings too, just like we are.
Right.
We're all human beings, I guess the point. But we use that phrase, stand in the gap. That's what you're supposed to do. Stand in the gap. People always say stand in the gap, and they think they mean bridge. Like they go, we're going to have connection. But if you look up the origin of the word stand in the gap, it is that they're making a bridge, but the person who's in the gap is exposing themselves to the danger.
Yeah.
The person who stands in the gap is the one who's taking the arrows and the attack. So if you stand in the gap, there's a danger, there's a exposure, there's something that's threatening the people that are behind you. And you're the one that kind of shields them with yourself by taking on that.
Sure.
And that is really what a leader is supposed to be doing.
And that's what Charlie did, isn't it?
That is precisely what he did.
Yeah.
They were all going. Yeah.
So what are the complaints you got, just out of curiosity, about Charlie? What are some of the complaints?
And I'll try to be objective about it too, and have some good context to it. So I posted that I thought he stood for the truth, and I thought that he was an example for young people, and I meant that. Because I think a lot of young people are afraid to speak up, especially in college campuses. They had to. Before Turning Point USA, we forget what it was. It's still like that now, but we just forget how hostile,
how powerful the PhDs are, and the other college guys, and how powerful and how mean they can get.
The pseudo intelligentsia,
yeah,
that is completely forceful in their ideology. And so many young people went to universities, and they had to, whatever cultural upbringing they had, whatever American values they had to divest themselves of that just to survive. Right. And so, but it's constantly bombarded. Those are the smart people are telling you that everything your parents said were wrong. America's a bad country. Oh, you grew up in church, you grew up on the farm, but that's all just, that's all hogwash. Right.
Yeah, right.
And this is the ideology we're going to inculcate you with. And if you try to stand up against that, like I went to it was a big event. I was at Mizzou 20-something years ago. And this guy said, well, we judge society by the most vulnerable. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
And I said, what about unborn children? Threw stuff, booed at me, right? Just for getting up and saying that.
Yeah.
So to have somebody like Charlie Kirk come and say, hey, you know what? I know your professor's saying that, but have you really thought about, just give it some thought. Is that really what's best for your life? Where does that road lead?
Yeah.
And people get so angry and they would shout and they would say, whatever. But I never saw him. I mean, he get emotional, like we all do. Like I get emotional, get energized. He get frustrated. We all get frustrated. But I never saw him just try to attack and hurt that person.
Yeah, he would just try to bring up some information.
Yeah.
And say, have you thought of this?
And I thought.
And he handled himself in such a way that he soon won over the crowd, especially when these professors would come down and challenge him like they were big shots.
Right.
Oh my God, he eviscerated them a lot easier. He'd end up saying, "What is a woman?" And they would be all over themselves trying to answer that.
Yeah.
Because, well, it's your choice. It's a choice. And he says, no, it's not. It's what we have. We have man and we have woman, and that's all there is. Now, transitioning into becoming or trying to become a woman could be a very painful thing for a child. It could be life-threatening, especially when people are going in and trying to push children into this because they're 6 years old. And then the parents can lose custody if they don't go along with it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Good.
We have a comment too on this.
Yes. David Day? Okay. Oh, Bill is an amazing person.
David Day's an amazing person.
Okay.
Dave's good for
Any other fans out there? Because Bill's a good guy. There's no doubt about that.
They're coming, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead and send the call either 573-578-2700 or.
Well, you can also comment on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble. I always have to think about it. We have so many places. By the way, I have to apologize to Bill. I was not able to make it to the fundraiser. My absence does not echo how I feel. I'm definitely in full support. I was just not able to make it last night either. So
thank you, JP.
Want to make sure that was clear.
I think we were all secretly mad that he announced Rascal Flatts would not be in attendance. I didn't even know.
That killed me.
Yeah. What happened with that?
When you posted you can't make it, I thought, well, first Rascal Flatts, now Lisa. I mean, what else?
I don't even know who the hell you're talking about.
Well, it was okay. I could tell you the backstory. Do you have another guest coming on?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's only McCloskey with all the answers to the 1/6er thing. But sure, go ahead.
So we were filming this commercial.
Yeah.
In Lebanon. We filmed in Lebanon a month or two ago, and I was like, I got a great idea for a joke for this commercial. I'm going to say Rascal Flatts is going to be there, and then I go, just kidding, he's not going to be there. So I thought, I'm a pro. I'm going to do this in one take. And the camera crew doing it, like maybe do 50 takes. They go, it's just not landing. It's just not funny. And I go, Rascal Flatts is going to be there. And they're like, okay, why don't we focus group it? Which I don't want to focus group stuff. I don't believe in that. If I think something's funny, I think it's funny.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of almost amusing myself sometimes. Just my friends, And so they got the edit for the commercial back, and they edited out my whole hilarious Rascal Flatts thing. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You guys are right about that. And then later we had this thing where I go, they're not going to be there, like as a second part to the joke. And I go, we're just going to run that. It's going to be funny. And so we ran it, and I thought it was funny. But all right,
listen, I want you to hang out if you want to. If I don't know if you have the time, but this is a good guy to be talking to.
Yeah,
he's wearing a tie and a white shirt. Could be very serious. And he is, along with his wife, they are the bravest people that I know. You talk about somebody standing up for their rights. He stood in front of 350 BLMs and Antifas, 350 of them on their lawn, trying to break into their house, threatening to kill them both after they raped his wife. And they just said 2 words: private property. And that's why these guys are such great Americans. Please welcome my friend Mark McCloskey. Now, I have another politician here with you. You're not really a politician anymore, are you?
No, sure not.
No. Okay. Well, he's a politician. He's running for state senate here. So, anyways,
I can't see.
What?
Who have you got? I can't see.
He can't see him.
He's got earphones on. All I can see are big.
Bill Hardwick.
Yeah,
it's Bill Hardwick.
Yeah, he wants your thorough identification. He will be doing a blood test after this.
I turn my back to the camera.
So it was just announced that there were 274-ish FBI agents at the 1/6 debacle.
Which is really fun because the official report from last December said there were none.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, how did they get away with lying about that?
You wouldn't suspect the government would lie to us about something, would you? You wouldn't expect
that.
Well,
who's responsible for this? We just indicted the first FBI leader in the 117 years of the existence of the FBI. So how do they get away with lying to Congress like this?
And by the way, I pulled that indictment on Jim Comey this morning and read it. I mean, it is the lamest thing in the world. It's like,
that's what I heard.
We're going to technically indict this guy, but under an indictment where he's guaranteed to win.
Right? Yeah, I don't understand that. I think Trump was pushing it, and I think Bondi was probably, knowing what she knows as a good lawyer, we're saying, I don't think this is such a good idea, and I think Trump just wanted it. And,
he appointed the new U.S. attorney for Virginia, who got sworn in on Monday and then got this indictment yesterday. I mean, it I was up at the Justice Department on Wednesday of this week talking about the J6 cases.
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about how the statute of limitations was running, that they had intentionally let the statute run on almost all these criminals from the Biden administration.
Right.
And it's just, I hate to say it, but to quote the illustrious line from The Who, meet the new boss, same as the old boss.
Wow. So is that what you're getting now? You're not getting any movement in the 1-6 debacle? I would think that would be game number one for what they're all calling us. You even got recently the governor of Illinois yapping about the Pritzker guy, yapping about 1-6ers and all that, and how evil we are.
That fat bastard, pardon my language, has said that Charlie Kirk's death was a result of the January 6th insurrectionists.
Yeah, exactly.
And the next day, Elizabeth Warren said the same thing. What a bunch of evil bastards.
Yeah.
But no, the problem is that they've got Congress cowed. Everybody's worried about the midterms. Everybody thinks that, oh God, how can we pay money to a bunch of insurrectionists? It's gonna look terrible. Well, you got to have some gonads at some point in your life.
Yeah.
And you just have.
Oh, Bill, now you're listening to this. You have to have some gonads in your life. He's got gonads, believe me. Trust me.
Thank you for letting me know that.
Okay, I wanted to make sure he was listening. Yeah.
But and Pam, buddy, all of my clients, and I now represent about 450 of these J6ers. Everybody is just up in arms about the fact that we're 8 months into this administration. Nobody's gone to jail. And I said this on this program. I say it every time I give a presentation. My clients had the FBI with Bearcats in their front yard, 35 armed, fully combat geared up FBI agents and federal marshals kick in their front doors, flashbang their houses, haul them all out in their underpants. Sometimes you'll haul them downtown to the federal courthouse, have them appear before the magistrate and release them in the middle of the winter in the street corner, downtown City X, no clothes on, just their underpants, no shoes, no wallet, no cell phone, no nothing, on trespass charges, right? Trespass.
Yeah.
And here we have the greatest fraud ever committed against the United States of America, the Russia hoax, the Ukraine hoax, every possible hoax, people going to jail, General Flynn going to jail, Carter Page, Paul Manafort, all these people. And what do we get in response? On the last day of the statute of limitations, we get this lame ass indictment of Jim Comey, where he's going to walk away from it, and the Democrats are going to claim it was all a Republican hoax.
Yeah, they're going to go right back to lying about 1-6 because they're getting away with it. What about Schiff? Is he going somewhere, or is he going to get away from it?
I don't know. I don't know if the name John Stubbins means anything to you, but he's a podcaster and a friend of mine. He's been researching the Adam Schiff stuff for a long time, and I put him in touch with Peter Tickton yesterday. That he's got all the facts and all the figures. But these people are all crooks. I mean, shoot, going back some time ago, I remember Dick Gebhardt, who is a Democrat congressman from Jefferson County for a long time. Yeah. I think he used his grandmother's post office boxes as official residence here in Missouri. It's been longest running joke of all time. And then you look at and I've gone too many tangents, but my buddy George Santos is in solitary confinement in prison right now for allegedly using $300,000 worth of campaign funds for things which are arguably his own benefit. Then look at Nancy Pelosi. Where did her tens of millions of dollars come from, right? It seems to be a very selective government where Republicans go to jail for just about anything and Democrats can't get arrested for everything.
Well, where are you going to find somebody with the balls to do something in the current Trump administration?
I don't know. It's very
Donald Trump. What's he doing?
I don't know. Well, right now he's doing whatever Bibi tells him to do.
Yeah, he is. That's another question.
Yeah,
because he's telling Bibi, according to what he said at the, I don't know if it was a UN or not, that he's going to not go in and take over Gaza.
Yeah,
and
Gaza's finest West Bank. He said that he wasn't going to allow
the West Bank.
Yeah.
Is he out of his mind? That's Judea and Samaria. Those
Yeah.
are both the Hebrew names given to them probably by God for Israel.
So, but Tucker Carlson's been saying, and I'm a friend of Tucker, and I believe what he has to say. But
Okay.
Netanyahu has been bragging to his friends in Israel that he controls U.S. Congress and controls Donald Trump. I was surprised to see Trump then. Yes, well, first of all, Trump said all kinds of really odd things
Yes, he did.
after the UN and in the UN, amongst other things, saying that he thinks Ukraine can win the war and take back all their property from Russia.
Yeah.
Which is an outlandish and
or more
to say, yeah,
or more.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then of course, and I don't know if you heard Netanyahu this morning at the UN.
I did not. I was doing a show.
He was, first off, he got all up in his hackles about people accusing him of genocide. But then he says this. He says, we are the most careful government in the history of the world in not inflicting civilian casualties. We gave the 1 million people in Gaza City an opportunity to leave, and 700,000 of them plus have. Well, you're in a country that has been blown flat. You have a difficult time finding anything to eat or drink, and then the government of Israel says you have to leave your city so we can destroy it. But he says no, we're not going to engage in genocide. But then 2 minutes later he says, you know what happened on October 7th? 90% of the Palestinians and the Palestinian Authority stood on the rooftops and cheered and chanted, and 90% of the government of the Palestinian Authority was in support of October 7th and in support of Hamas. And we're not going to allow there to be a Palestinian state. Well, if you're not interested in genocide, but you're going to have to kill 90% of the population because you say we're only going to kill the terrorists, but 90% of the population supports the terrorists, and we're not going to have a Palestinian state. I don't understand how A and B are not mutually exclusive. And he didn't, of course, elaborate.
Well, he was attacked. There was a state there, and that state, they had about 18 of those ceasefires. Yeah. And during the ceasefire on October the 7th, they were attacked not only by the Hamas, but also by UN. Yeah. They were attacked. The next day, they were attacked by Hezbollah. And then came all the other 6 or so partners with Iran.
Yeah. So, and I know you and I will differ on this, but let's say that. Well, first of all, I had some folks on my radio program immediately after October 7th, and I don't know if you've been to Israel, but it is the most highly surveilled and controlled state in the world. Everything is on video. They've got video surveillance of every square inch of every inch of Israel, like 6 times a second.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say stuff that'll piss off a lot of my clients, amongst other things. But if you believe that a bunch of guys in hang gliders and mini bikes and pickup trucks could defeat Israeli security and come in undetected under Israeli territory and commit this atrocity without the complicity of the Israeli government, then I can't believe that. I mean, it is ridiculous to think that this could have happened. Just like it's hard to believe that 9/11 happened without people in the government, CIA knowing about it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's say that there was a surprise attack. Let's say it defeated the most technically superior surveillance force in the world and killed 1,200 Israelis and women and children and the whole business. As of this morning, 65,500 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, or Gazans as they're called, 125,000 more wounded. And the goal, according to Netanyahu this morning, is to exterminate all Hamas. But Gaza has been an open air prison for a long time, and if there's no Palestinians left in Gaza, and no other state will take them, telling them to leave is problematic. But more than that, if he says 90% of the people in the Palestinian Authority support Hamas, and they all have to be exterminated, where do we go? And then
for one thing, you don't let them come back. You don't let them continue to kill you as they are doing, and you tell them this is the way you get out of this. You have to give up, like Germany did, like Japan did, and you have to stop killing our people. You have to stop dropping bombs, and for that,
No, well, and you and I differ because of all.
If they did that to Ireland, what would you be saying?
Yeah, well, they did do that to Ireland for almost 100 years.
And what happened?
Yeah, eventually
They fought back, didn't they?
They did. And here's the thing.
Okay.
Well, and I've always been kind of a pacifist, but think about this. And I usually have this chart. I was going to print one up and have it for the screen today. We gave up the vast majority of our civil rights for the Patriot Act after 9/11. But if you look at a chart of deaths in the world due to Arab terrorism before and after 9/11, if you look at the United States part of it, except for 9/11, it's essentially zero, both before and after. And yet we gave up virtually our entire constitutional rights. Certainly we live in a surveillance state now where everything you and I say and think and everything else is monitored by the government. And you've seen how the government can be weaponized against us. But think what we did after 9/11. Why did we go to war in Afghanistan? We went to war in Afghanistan because we demanded that the Afghanis cough up Osama bin Laden. What do we give them, 10 days, 2 weeks? They didn't do it. We then go in there, take over their government, kill lots and lots of people. We occupy the country. Did we find Osama bin Laden? No. Was he there? No. He ends up in Pakistan. Yep. We go to Pakistan and kill him and his whole family over there. Yep. Pakistan's our ally. After harboring Osama bin Laden for all these years, do we go in and destroy Pakistan? No, because he's an ally. But then we decide that we have to attack Iraq because Saddam Hussein's a really bad guy. And by the way, Colin Powell stands up in front of that same United Nations and says, we know that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. We know how many he has, and we know where he has them. And we go in there with shock and awe. And we kill about 1 million Iraqis directly by our armed forces. And then about another 2 million starve to death or die of disease as a result of the war.
Okay, here's an Iraqi platoon leader right here.
Yeah.
You have any comments on that?
Did Saddam Hussein have weapons of mass destruction? Did we destroy their government and cause mass destabilization? And then I'll go one step further. Look at a map. You got Afghanistan to the east. You've got Iraq to the west. What's in between? Iran. And what did Netanyahu say today? That now Iran needs to be pacified, right? Is this going to happen? I saw
pacified. How do you mean that?
Well, he said they can either become disarmed or voluntarily or involuntarily, basically that they need to be peaceful. I can't remember his exact word, but it was obvious the threat was surrender or be destroyed. And I think he said exactly that if you lay down your arms, you'll live. If not, we will kill you.
So what would you do if you were in the position of Bibi Netanyahu, assuming there was some honesty on 10/7/23, and you had some liberal guys also in the IDF who were such that they probably disobeyed what was supposed to be, and or were bought off. But what is he supposed to do when that happens, when all these Jews are murdered that way? Obviously, you could say that, well, okay, they didn't have their rights. They didn't have their right way to take care of this. They didn't utilize what they had in determining what their stuff was. On October the 6th, I was interviewing the rabbi on this show on October the 6th or 7th. Yeah, no, the 6th. And I was interviewing him, and I says, how's your security in Israel? And so it's great. We know everything that's happening. And I says, are you sure? He says, well, you can't always be sure, but yeah, we're pretty, in the United States, we know what's going on. All right. And I says, well, do you remember the war 50 years ago? The Yom Kippur War? He said, well, of course I do. I says, why does it feel like it right now that that's possible? 6.5 hours later is when they attacked.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know. I don't know if you can specify the blame for this other than stupidity and or maybe the liberals not imposing what they were supposed to be doing by protecting Israel.
Yeah. Well, throughout the history of the world, governments have used created or fortuitous tragedies to promote their political ends. I mean, we can go back to Pearl Harbor and the Reichstag fire in Germany, and you can go back throughout history and find similar examples. And whether it was intentional, whether it was negligent, or whether it was genuinely the Hamas forces overwhelming the security apparatus of Israel, it has certainly been used for. I'll bet Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned October 7th no less than 50 times today.
I would have too.
Yeah, I know. It is.
Everyone else ignores it.
Yeah, it is the motivating factor, or gives him the authority, at least in his mind, to eliminate a problem which has been brewing for, thousands of years, at least since 1948 in this specific context. But you also have to remember, like I always do, that these are all human beings. These are all souls given to us by God, and that death is a horrible thing, and death in war is a horrible thing because it creates famine and pestilence and everything else. So not just the people directly killed are affected, but you got to remember that these are all husbands and wives and sons and daughters, and just like the war in Ukraine, most of these poor bastards that are going to their death are conscripts that don't want this war, don't want to be in the war zone, but are either patriotic recruits or they're conscripts in the case of the Ukrainian and Russian army. But they're just kids out there getting killed.
You know what? I couldn't agree with that more. And here's a kid that went to Iraq and fought. And do you want to comment at all on this?
I can. I mean, there's a lot that he touched on that I think is really impactful to me. Even the idea about Lusitania, Pearl Harbor, Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11. There's always an incident, and that justifies an action. But at some point, the nation, in this case internationally, they wonder about whether or not that action is justified altogether. I support Israel, and when I primarily mean when I say that is I think that we should, as a planet, support their right to exist as a nation, to have sovereignty tantamount to every other country of their borders, and to defend themselves. I don't think it's Donald Trump's job to agree with everything Benjamin Netanyahu does, or our job to agree with every policy of Israel like any other country. But I think there is something special about Israel, and that all the nations surrounding them think that they should not even exist as a country, and America is their main endorsement to exist as a country.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I agree. I mean, agree with every policy. I think a lot often about too how 9/11 changed our constitutional rights and created the surveillance state, and how
isn't that where the FISA courts came?
Yeah, it's a product of it. It's a product of having our phone calls listened to, everything.
Yeah.
And and I'm distrustful of every government. Our government, Mossad, I think, has done things over it's historically, just like the CIA has. There are things that we may not agree with. There are things that we think that aren't scrupulous. But when I say I support Israel, I mean I support their right to exist as a nation and to defend themselves, just like I support America's right to exist as a nation and defend themselves. I think that's there's a lot I could talk about how we pivoted on Ukraine and we pivoted on Israel the last 2 years quite a bit. We went from full support of anything Ukraine, we're fighting a proxy with the CIA against Russia, to President Trump saying our goal is armistice, everybody's going to have to make some concessions, to him kind of adopting part of what Biden did, which is we're going to wage this war to its outcome. America's support for Israel has changed quite a bit too the last 2 years, from Israel can do whatever they want, take the gloves off. Now I think it's very tepid support. But I think that in both those cases, our country needs to facilitate a resolution to peace, because the support for the international community, American people, is very volatile right now.
Yeah. All right. Your comments?
Well, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu may be his worst enemy amongst the rank and file of Americans, because he said, for example, the other day, you can't be MAGA if you don't support Israel. He didn't mean Israel. He means his current political plan for Israel. And there's probably a couple of things that MAGA Republicans really don't like. One is other nations telling us what to do, and one is anybody telling us what to think and telling us that we can't really be supporting America first if we don't support Israel, and we can't be MAGA Republicans if we don't support Netanyahu's program without question. And I'm opposed to the Chinese Communist government. That doesn't mean I'm opposed to the Chinese people, whether I think the Chinese shouldn't have a country. But you got to. Yeah. And by the way, I'll sidetrack here one thing, and that is the assassination of Charlie Kirk the other day.
Yeah.
and everybody gets on television and says it's never appropriate to assassinate a husband and father under any circumstances. But we assassinate people all the time. The United States government does. The Israeli government uses political assassination of their opponents as their primary tactic. I mean, in other countries and in third nations,
There's a lot of civilians.
yeah. And our president is, attacking speedboats off of Venezuela and the allegation that they are drug runners. And he has a kill list every day of people around the world that are suspected terrorists, and we feel fine about killing them. So it comes back to a matter of hypocrisy or consistency of policy. We forget, because we're never told this, that Hamas is the elected government of Gaza. We are supposed to support democracy around the world. What we really do, I can't remember if it was Don Rumsfeld or Dick Cheney said this during the Iraq War. They said that democracy isn't a process, it's an outcome. Meaning it's only a democratic election if we like the results or like who gets elected. And sure, Hamas is a terrorist organization, and they were an elected government of Gaza. But let's not pretend that we support democracy. We support democracies that we like, and we will kill democracies that we don't like. And we will complain about assassinations of people we like and celebrate the assassination of leaders that we don't like. And that's a kind of hypocrisy, and you can tell I'm probably a little more excited than I usually am today. But I just see this tremendous waste of life. And at the UN yesterday, the president says that, we're going to leave it up to NATO to solve the Ukraine problem. We will sell them every weapon they need and remove any restrictions on their offensive use of them against Russia.
Well, the main thing is he's got to stop the movement of oil to Russia.
Yeah,
and that'll cut him off real quick, I think.
Well, and same thing that the people on the left were saying about Turkey and Israel. Cut off the flow of oil from Turkey to Israel. I mean, it's all the same. Where oil runs the world, of course. But no, I totally agree. But what we're doing right now is encouraging a war between Europe and Russia, and it's all this propaganda now about Russians invading Poland airspace, and the Polish government is now vowing to shoot down Russian aircraft, and all this is scaling up towards a really, really unpleasant situation. And then Trump says either today or yesterday that he believes that Russia is a paper tiger. Well, it may be a paper tiger, but it's got thousands of nuclear weapons. And by the way, Israel's got hundreds of nuclear weapons. And we never talk about that either. And up until Jimmy Carter revealed it inadvertently a few years ago, it was not allowed in American media to mention the fact that Israel had atomic weapons.
Yeah, it's a tough world.
Yeah.
It is. I agree. And it's sad that people, especially young people, have to die in wars. And that's why we have elections in the hopes that we have wise leadership in it. But laying down when you get attacked for whatever reason is not a good solution. You have
I totally agree.
You have done it, sir.
No, I totally agree. But once again, you should never allow tragedies to escalate into the more horrible situation. You can enforce your boundaries, you can enforce your rights, and you can deter further attack without destroying populations and destroying your own citizens' rights. And that's the balance that wise government would achieve, rather than just knee-jerk reaction. You killed us, so we're going to kill everybody.
Well, who's to blame if somebody has tunnels and they hide themselves underneath schools and churches and mosques and hospitals? I mean, so you can't strike back.
Well,
what do you do then?
Yeah, it is admittedly a tough situation, but there has to be a solution that doesn't include the extermination of a population of 2 million. I mean, we killed more people directly and indirectly in Iraq than Pol Pot killed in Cambodia, and yet Pol Pot's a bad guy, and we're defenders of freedom and democracy.
All right. Well, we're coming towards the end here, and
not my typical conversation, I might add.
No, that's fine. No, I love talking to you. You know that. I call him out at a hotel while he was there eating with his wife.
Yeah, no, it's a conversation we have a longer conversation for sure.
Yeah,
there's a lot to discuss.
Well,
and delve into there.
I'm here with a lot of brains all over the
Yeah.
place, except for me, obviously.
Well,
But-
I like the future senator because he is so well spoken and calmer than I am.
Well, yeah, all right, all right. Anything within seconds? I have to shut the show down
in 20 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's interesting that Eisenhower viewed assassinations as an alternative to war, but he's the one that warned us about the military-industrial complex. And one of the reasons I really liked Donald Trump 2016, 2024 was his foreign policy, that instead of doing these things that were driven by the military-industrial complex or desire for war, he would just do what's in America's interest. And I hope he just continues to do that, what he said he would do when he was campaigning in 2016, to end wars, but to protect the American people. That's what I want the president to do.
He just set the record for words spoken in a limited time. Go.
I totally agree, and that's what we elected Donald Trump to do. And hopefully he will continue to honor his word and keep us out of foreign wars and put America's interests first above all others.
All right, I wish I could go on, but thank you both for being on the show. And I appreciate both of you. Hi to Pat over there, and hi to your family, Bill. We'll be back with another edition of the Dave Weinbaum Show next Friday.